At the mention of the red-headed summoner, Yuan Di could not help grunt coldly. I do not know what Nan Yi nation has done to have 9-star summoners appearing one by one. Before it was the battle-wild prince, now again there was a mysterious red-haired witch. And both of them have a super high-level beast. Wuling, 2 of them had already appeared in Nan Yi nation. With such strength, it made a person a bit angry. Di, there are always others who are stronger, did you forget? Feng Lianyi shook his head. Usually when they were outside Yuan Di acted impetuously, but his usual character was calm. Yuan Di smiled saying, Your Highness is right, a 9-star summoner, in front of the city of Shura, is not even worth mentioning. Feng Lianyi laughed silently, but in a shallow purple light appeared in his eyes. This feast at the palace is to win over the 9-star summoner. Yuan Di said, An unknown mysterious summoner, Your Royal Highness, do you want to check it out? No, just let it be, we'll just have to wait and see. At night Huang Bei Yu was in a room to study herbs. On the Carter continent, in addition to the enviable summoner profession, there is an even more sacred profession, and that is refining pharmacist and the equipment refining division. In general, people who understood how to refine medicines and materials were geniuses with rare talent. In addition to gaining the inheritance by blood, the most important things were access to material. In each country, to gain the materials required major forces and a large family, so if a person had no familial background and resources, becoming a pharmacist was very difficult unless you could go on an adventure. Because of this, refining medicine and equipment had become an aristocratic exclusive skill. To buy a pack of low-leveled herbs in the Bougier market today, Huang Bei Yu had spent a few thousand gold coins, causing her to understand why this profession was limited to aristocrats and so rare. Having no money but wanting to practice refining was not possible. Becoming a refining pharmacist, and being able to enhance her own strength was too important. Since she could not gather energy, her body was too weak, she had to nurse it back to health, otherwise she would just be all talk. Tonight the moon was particularly bright. Huang Bei Yu was sitting on the windowsill, trying to absorb trace amounts of energy from the heaven and earth into her body. Subtle strength flowed into the black jade, though it was a small piece of jade, the internal space is very large, it was infinitely broad yet dark, and everything could not be seen. Attempting to use the energy and sense the surroundings through perception yielded the same result as it still appeared dark with no visuals. Since the body could not father the energy, it flowed into the black jade and soon disappeared. Fuck. Huang Bei Yu angrily slammed the table. What the hell, why was she not able to gather the energy in the end? The body was obviously good even if it was weak, there was no way it could suck all the energy away. Wait, suck it away? A ray of light suddenly flashed in her mind, she immediately sat and began to absorb some energy, then slowly let the energy sink into her body. Slowly, slowly. As the energy circulated along her meridians, the flow was slowly but surely sucked away by some force. Not dissipated, but sucked away. Her face was happy and surprised. This discovery instantly threw away years of doubt. She was not supposed to be able to gather energy, and yet she did. Ha ha ha, after so many years, you finally found this secret. A strange voice suddenly sounded. The late night was quiet, and she was concentrating deeply when she suddenly heard such a strange voice. Not to mention mortals, even gods would have a heart attack. Huang Bei Yu stood up, her eyes cold and fierce. Who? There was no one there, she could not even feel a breath. It's no use to look, you cannot see me. In the end, who are you? She did not like this feeling of being peeped on. The other person can see her, and knew about her, yet she know nothing about them. You can call me Yang. Tn equals Yang equals nightmare. Tell me what you prefer or what manga uses, I did not ask for your name. Get out. Huang Bei Yu shouted coldly, the murderous aura surrounding her surging. Yang seemed startled, then slowly said, I would come out if I could. Her cold eyes narrowed slightly. What do you mean? Well, close your eyes and I'll let you see me. Huang Bei Yu closed her eyes, she had no worries or fear, even if her eyes were closed, her other senses were very well developed. With her eyes closed, her body suddenly fell and she immediately opened her eyes. A solitary lamp shone faintly in the seemingly endless darkness. Her feet stepped into a pool of black water. The water was flowing, and although the sound was very subtle, it was clear that it flowed forward. As she looked around, her heart had no fear, and was instead very curious. That Yang said that he would let her see him. Was he in this place? She walked slowly along the water. After walking for about a minute, she saw that the solitary lamp was always in front of her. No matter how quickly she went, there was no way to close the gap. Finally, she appeared in front of a tall, majestic prison. 49 copper pillars were erected in front. Each of them would need 4 or 5 people to lift it up. The top of the pillars were covered with dark gold paint that was painted into countless strange symbols like a spell. The energy flowed slowly around the pillars, but then suddenly those spell symbols suddenly burst with a flash of light. She looked up and could not see how high the copper pillars were, as if they were extended to another world. Such a huge wide space, yet it was full of darkness. Such a thing was rare even on the mainland. Huang Beiyu walked forward, placing her hand on the pillar. There was a flash of golden light, then a huge repulsive force shoved her hand away. At the same time, 2 cloudy eyes as big as houses appeared between the pillars, staring at her strangely. Huang Beiyu raised her head. Her petite figure stood fearlessly, her face elegant, her eyes calm yet indifferent, looking the large eyes up and down. "What the hell are you?" she asked in her proud and arrogant voice. The huge eyes slowly leaned over, then gradually, the face of a red beast face appeared in front of her. After moving a little closer to the 49 bronze pillars, they stopped. "I am Yang. I know that you are called Yang. I am asking, what are you?" Yang's huge eyes held a trace of surprise. They saw that the human girl in front of him was not only unafraid, but also dared to speak arrogantly to him. "Ha ha, how worthy of the chosen person are." Yang laughed, and although they were laughing, it was full of a deep-seated hatred. Huang Beiyu held out her hand, snorting coldly, "Stop speaking nonsense, speak properly or I'm gone." "Huang Beiyu, are you not curious about me?" The girl's indifferent face and attitude slightly stabbed Yang's pride. "Open up to me more." "What a joke. In my eyes you're just a beast, and there is no beast that I cannot force to surrender to me." Yang breathed in heavily, causing the black water beneath it to surge. "So, you do not want to know where you are right now? If I want to know, then naturally I will know. You old monster, stop trying to act mysterious before me." In her past life, getting targeted by aircraft carriers was just a simple game to her, so what could the bird monster before her be considered? Huang Beiyu brought back her hands and turned. Yang looked at her back and growled loudly, "Huang Beiyu, this is the Blackwater Forbidden Prison, you cannot get out. Even hell will have an exit hole if I hit it." After speaking, she had begun to summon the Ice Swan spirit bird. However, Yang began laughing and said, "Hit open a hole? Huang Beiyu, this is inside your body ah." Huang Beiyu suddenly turned around. "What did you say?" Seeing that her calm expression was finally broken, Yang laughed strangely. "I have been sealed inside your body for 12 years. Do you not know why you cannot gather and use energy? It is because when you gather the energy, it is used to strengthen this forbidden Blackwater prison." The roaring voice set the water roiling, and the black water at her feet began to boil like a pot of boiling water. With a rumble, large bubbles began to form. In the silent dark space, the wind suddenly began to blow, whipping Huang Beiyu's hair around, but the solitary glowing lamp calmly stayed in place. "Ha ha ha, ha 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 ha." The laughter was full of madness as it reverberated in the darkness of the space. Huang Beiyu's vision darkened, then when she opened her eyes, she had returned to her room in the flowing cloud pavilion. A fine layer of sweat had emerged on her forehead, her already pale face appeared even more wan. "Yang, come out," she shouted angrily. "Third Miss, Our Lady came to see you." Suddenly, she heard the sound of somebody knocking on the door. Huang Beiyu raised her and saw a few maidservants holding lanterns, with concubine Shui leading them into her yard. The palace banquet was over, the Xiao family members were returning, and the front yard became noisy as more people came in. Concubine Shui had not known what to do for most of the night. Huang Beiyu took a deep breath, wiped the sweat from her forehead, and stood up to open the door. Concubine Shui looked at who was opening the door, and seeing that it was Huang Beiyu could not help but be surprised. "Third Miss, how come that girl Dongling did not open the door?" "Dongling is sick," Huang Beiyu replied. Although her voice sounded cold and completely indifferent, It was clear that it was weak. Concubine Shui sneered in her heart, seeing that this sickly child was weak and that her face was as white as that of a dead man. She knew that Huang Beiyu was really regretting her actions against Angua Gong and his eldest son. Seeing that she would not even live for a long time, she did not even bother to try and coax her as she once planned. "Oh, third miss, how are you? Is your body not feeling well?" Concubine Shui walked into the room. Her maidservants immediately came in with a soft brocade cushion, draping it over a chair and allowing her to sit down. "My body is the same," Huang Beiyu said, but also forced herself to cough twice, her face melancholy and pale. Concubine Shui laughed. "With the things that happened yesterday, do not blame your second sister. That Shui and his family would make this decision, we did not know." She knew that with Huang Beiyu's personality being simple, as long as she was coaxed with soft words, she would be easily convinced. For so many years, didn't her occasional bits of charity cause Huang Beiyu to feel grateful? Sure enough, she heard Huang Beiyu immediately say, "How could I blame my second sister?" In Nan Yi Nation, who does not know that second sister is part of the leaders of the young generation, not only does she have the title of a genius, she also has the looks of an angel, and with her identity, she is worthy of the price R. When Concubine Shui heard her words, her eyes lit up instantly. She had never thought that this waist could speak so beautifully. It was her daughter, so of course she would be able to accompany the prince, even if it was His Royal Highness the Emperor's son. It was still possible. It was just a pity that since she had the identity of a concubine-born daughter, Yuna lost so many good opportunities. Third miss, you say these words, yet with the identity of your sister, as a concubine-born daughter, how can she be a match for the prince? TSK really won't stop. Who knew humble words could be so hypocritical? Huang Beiyu sneered in her heart, but when she spoke her voice was innocent and ignorant. Concubine Shui, how can you say this? Concubine Shui is dignified and virtuous, coupled with the beauty of second sister. Father should definitely make you the main wife. Concubine Shui's face was glowing with ecstasy. This waist was really good at coaxing people. All the years spent not bullying her were not in vain. She tried to cover up her emotions, and fearfully said, "Third miss, do not tease your Aunt Shui. How can I dare to want the seat of the first princess?" Well, of course the first princess seat could not be passed out, but she could still fantasize. Mother has been dead for many years. This home now has no mother. After so many years, this girl's lips had finally loosened. It seemed that yesterday's blow was too big, so even her last hope was shattered. Seeing that she could not longer marry Angua Gong's eldest son, she could only seek refuge with her. Concubine Shui was very proud. It seemed that this time, her luck was repeatedly good. She became the master's concubine. Her daughter Yuna would become the legal first wife of Shui. Despite her status being that of a concubine-born child, it was not even mentioned. While her heart was proud, with a worried face she said, "Unfortunately, your father prefers that cheap concubine Qin, plus since she gave birth to the eldest son, I am afraid that your father will soon help that cheap woman instead." When she finished speaking, Concubine Shui even began to pretend she was wiping away tears. "Your second sister and I have done you no harm, even if we sometimes have grievances, but third miss, since you did not have a mother to rely on, Concubine Qin always had her cheap people abuse you every time. Your Aunt Shui have been so distressed. If she became the head of the house, how would you survive the coming days?" Huang Beiyu furrowed her brows, looking melancholy as she thought for a while, then said, "In the early years when Concubine Yu was as the palace feast, she seduced father to her. The Empress Dowager was very dissatisfied with her. If father wants to make her his main wife, the Empress Dowager might not agree. The Empress Dowager really does not like that cheap woman." Concubine Shui suddenly seemed as happy as if she had just grabbed some life-saving straw. Huang Beiyu nodded. When father accepted her as his concubine, the Empress Dowager informed the emperor, and he punished father by taking away a year of his salary. Yes. Concubine Shui was very happy. This matter had caused a huge uproar, but people were still afraid to speak of it. Concubine Qin is the daughter of a prime minister, while she is a common woman who had no status. At the palace feast, Concubine Qin had openly attracted the consort prince, and had an affair with him, thereby making her his concubine. It was just that no one dared to mention thing that happened that year. Huang Beiyu looked at her beaming face, could not help but smile, knowing that concubine Shui was slowly approaching her trap. But so many years have passed, I do not know if the elderly Empress Dowager still remembers. If she has forgotten because of old age, then it may be. The Empress Dowager cannot forget. Concubine Shui's eyes flashed poisonously. Not only that, I have to let everyone in the city know. Huang Beiyu smiled in her heart. Yes, that it's. But, in the blink of an eye, concubine Shui hesitated. That cheap slut has sold out for 2 years. The Prime Minister also supports her. If she knew what I was doing, wouldn't it be? Concubine Shui's family was just a civilian family living in Mianyang. When they were desperate, Princess Hui Wen had taken in her family to help them. She had brought concubine Shui to work by her side, thinking that if she had a good education, then she could marry into a good family. Who knew that she had been secretly targeting Xiao Yuan Cheng and seduced him? Not sure who seduced who tbh, with her supposed reputation ruined, Princess Hui Wen Chang could only call the shots, and allow her and Xiao Yuan Cheng to have a ceremony, making her a concubine. Even though she had no identity and no great family background, concubine Shui was favored immensely at the beginning. Even when Xiao Yuan Cheng married Princess Hui Wen Chang, her status did not change. But later, when Xiao Yuan Cheng married concubine Qin, who was the daughter of a prime minister, her position was shaken. In addition, concubine Qin soon gave birth to the first and eldest son for Xiao Yuan Cheng, causing Xiao Yuan Cheng to love her even more. After that, Xiao Yuan Cheng continued going to other maid servants' rooms, and made them concubines if they gave birth. If not for the fact that concubine Shui had Xiao Yun, and that Xiao Yun showed her talent for being a summoner when she was 5 years old, she would probably have no status. She had to rely on Xiao Yun for so many years because although concubine Shui and concubine Qin were rivals, when speaking of their family backgrounds, concubine Shui would be thrown out on the street. Concubine Qin came from the Prime Minister's family. How big was her backing? So concubine Shui had always been afraid of concubine Qin's supporters. If the Prime Minister knew that she was behind the attacks and harmed his daughter, she could not bear the consequences. Of course, this point was also considered by Huang Beiyu. Since she dared set this plan, she would definitely make it so attractive that the other party would dive into it. Gently coughing twice, her voice weak and soft, she said, "Concubine Shui, she has the Prime Minister's backing, but I also have the backing of the Empress. She has abused me for so many years, I have had enough. You have been so good to me, so naturally I will be on your side. If something happens, you can just say that it is my fault." Concubine Shui almost burst out laughing. "So glad you said those words. After so many years of not bothering her, in the end it had paid off. Third Miss, you can rest assured, when I become the main wife, I will be sure to treat you as my own daughter." Concubine Shui hypocritically said as she tried to cheat her. "For so many years it was concubine Shui who took care of me, my heart is very grateful." Concubine Shui personally took the teapot from the hands of a maidservant, and personally poured her a bowl, saying happily, "Now I can only ask for your disease to get better quickly, then together we will eradicate concubine Qin so that you will not suffer for long." Indeed, this concubine Shui was not an idiot. At this time she did not forget to let Huang Beiyu drink a bowl of poison. Although concubine Shui looked delicate, her mind was not weak. Huang Beiyu took the bowl and sighed, saying, "If not for concubine Shui sending medicine every day, I am afraid that this body would have collapsed a long time ago." Finished speaking, she really took the bowl of poison and drank it. Concubine Shui was very smart on this matter. Every time she would personally watch to make sure that the poison was willingly consumed. It should be that third miss is certainly a blessing to people. Concubine Shui said as she laughed with satisfaction. "Your good fortune, you and your dead mother can enjoy it together in hell. After drinking this medicine, I really want to sleep. Concubine Shui, I will not be able to send you back. You just rest. I will see you again tomorrow." Concubine Shui then led the maid servants and left. Once she was gone, Huang Beiyu's dark eyes suddenly shone with a burst of light. "Stupid woman." Lifting her hand, black toxins were forced out drop by drop into the pot from her middle finger. "Haha, for so many years, it seems that I was underestimating you, little girl." Yang's strange voice sounded again. Huang Bei Yu now knew that they was inside her body, and that except for her, nobody could hear their voice. If she did not open her mouth, she could still communicate with them in her mind. Well, when the mussel and crane fight, it's the fisherman that profits. To deal with those two women, she was too lazy to do it herself. So young in age yet you have such a vicious mind, that's not good. Yang exclaimed, you have not seen me being yet. I like to hold a grudge, so whoever provokes me, I will not let his ancestors or the next 18 generations have peace. A cold glint flashed in her eyes, of course this includes you. Yang was shocked, it had not left the real world for too long, yet the people had changed so much that a 12-year-old little girl could be so furiously arrogant. I was sealed in your body. The host's strong aura was such that Yang felt that the current situation was something they could not handle. They had stayed in the forbidden Blackwater prison for too long. Who was the person that sealed you? I cannot tell you his name, but I can tell you that there is a great relationship between that person and that piece of black jade. You know about my black jade? Huang Bei Yu asked with some surprise. She was afraid that even the Iceland spirit bird was not aware of the existence of this piece of black jade. The beast without boundaries had brought her here, so she knew that this piece of black jade was sure to be hiding a lot of secrets. And since it had unlimited power, perhaps her being brought to ancient times with this treasure would give her the best life. So she had to be careful to protect it, and not let other people find out about it easily. But how did this monster know? Yang slowly spoke, if not for that piece of black jade, I would not have woken up from that seal. I felt that a powerful person was approaching and thought that he had returned. I did not expect it to be you. Do you know what this black jade can do? She just wanted to figure out how to use this piece of black jade as soon as possible. Yang thought for a moment, then said, he placed a lifelong cultivation seal on the black jade. If you can break the seal, little girl, you can become the same as him. Seal. This ancient technique was rarely mentioned even by masters. The seal was kind of incantation, or a so-called spell. It was used to lead energy into the body. By using the incantation, it allowed the rules of heaven and earth to resonate, allowing a person to establish certain laws, and achieve all kinds of supernatural powers. But this technique, nobody had heard of it for thousands of years. That man is the only one between heaven and earth who knows how to use the incantations. He had disdain for the world, and when Shura City and Guang Yarrow, Glory, Temple attempted to crush him together, more than 300 heavenly level summoners died at his hand. It was a war of ancient times. Yang said this very excitedly, but Huang Bei Yu was confused hearing the words. Heavenly level summoner? What a joke! On the whole Carter continent, nobody had heard of the presence of a heavenly level summoner. A summoner's level was generally from 1 to 9 stars. Within each star there were 3 points: low, intermediate, and advanced points. Name of a genius, 6. Those whose powers surpassed 9-star could then enter the legendary Heaven and Yellow Realm stage. Once at 9-star, it was very difficult for ordinary people to break through. Hence some were stuck at 9-star for hundreds of years and were not able to even take one step forward. For thousands of years, people only heard about the mysterious level summoner. Right now, Nan Yi country's crown prince Nan Yi was the most promising genius to break through 9-star. But God level was really unheard of. This old monster, he wasn't bragging to her, right? Such a powerful person, how did he die? Hearing Huang Bei Yu ask like that, Yang suddenly started laughing. That kind laughter gave Huang Bei Yu goosebumps. In order to seal me, he died. You! Huang Bei Yu laughed coldly. Seems like you have stayed inside the seal for too long. Your strength has regressed a lot. When she saw Yang in the Blackwater forbidden prison, his aura was comparable to the Iceland spirit bird. But only later, when he was laughing, did it make her feel a tremendous pressure. However, this amount of strength, compared to a 9-star summoner, was like a piece of sesame. Yet he dared say that the mysterious predecessor that killed 300 heavenly level masters in one war died because of sealing him? Humph. If it wasn't for concubine Shuer who fed you poison every day, how could I be so weak? Speaking of this, Yang began to grit his teeth. Huang Bei Yu almost died laughing. That concubine Shuer mistakenly hurt the wrong person, but she had done a good thing. But now that you want to come out from the seal, it will be much harder. That is because I really dislike you due to the way you act. Yang humphed. We can make a deal. You help me lift the seal and I will help you become a super-level pill master. How's that? Super-level pill master? The deal was quite tempting. Being a pill master in the Cart mainland, how amazing. But, old monster, did you think that I bought so many herbs home just for me to look at? Those low-level herbs, don't tell me you want to. Did you know since little, this grandma has grown up with the title of a genius? Although there might be a little difference between the two eras' method of refining pills, to me, it's only a matter of time. She just wanted to try a little, so she bought some low-level herbs home. Obviously, she couldn't use the best materials. Yang panted in and out, sounding very angry. How can this woman be so crazy? Such a sacred career, yet she spoke of it like it was the same as cutting melons and vegetables. So, what do you want to trade with me, so that you will help me? Yang, who was now under the black clouds, couldn't help but lower his head. The sealing technique was too strong. Those 49 pillars continuously absorbed Huang Beiyu's vitality to reinforce itself. If it continued like this, he would be forever imprisoned inside this Blackwater forbidden prison. Huang Beiyu took out the black jade, looking at it under the moonlight. Facing the moonlight, her beautiful lips formed a mysterious smile. I want the power within the beast without boundaries. Tell me how can I enter it and then I'll consider helping you. How would I know this? He and that man were enemies an enemy's thing, how would he know? Then I'm sorry. If you can't think of a way, then get lost. Once my body gets better and its ability to absorb energy becomes stronger, then I'll lock you to death. Name of a genius, 7, Huang Beiyu fiercely said, you don't even have any advantages I can use, what do I need you for? This monster wasn't a good thing. He also wasn't someone who was kind. If he had something worthwhile, then she could keep him, if not, she would have to think of a way to completely get rid of him. Otherwise, letting a sealed monster stay inside her body, she'd feel uncomfortable every second of the day. Huang Beiyu, if you continue talking, I won't even give you a chance. Scam and think of a way. Huang Beiyu snapped. If this woman with a vicious and poisonous heart dared to say it, then she would dare to do it. She said she wouldn't give him a chance, then he absolutely can't take it as a normal threat. Yang's heart was in a turmoil, but he could only slip back into the darkness. Having sent away Yang, Huang Beiyu took the herbs she had bought and tested them one by one. Her master was a very powerful person, and towards odd methods, he still knew them all. Taming animals and refining pills, her master had taught her everything. In her era, spirit beasts were few, precious materials were also few. Due to these aspects, it had limited her ability to display her skills. However, the Carter continent was rich in resources. Humans and beast lived in coexistence. In the distant floating forest, high-level spirit beasts appeared and high-grade herbs were abundant. Every year, there were many mercenary groups who risked their lives to go there. If their luck was good, they could obtain herbs that were hard to get. Today, the herbs she had bought were only low-level herbs. There was no need to take risks for these low-level herbs, one could find them in a regular forest. From a cloth bag, she took out a small clay furnace. This broken piece of thing cost her 50 gold coins. The medical furnace had 5 holes, every one of these holes had different attribute channels. Refining medicine and learning techniques were the same. By putting materials of different attributes through fire, using vitality and rules to mix them together and activating refining pills technique, they could get different level grades of elixir pills. Pill masters needed strong and powerful spiritual perception as well as pure vitality. This way, they could feel and manipulate the process of refining pills. Huang Beiyu took a deep breath and placed one of the ice-attributed shueji grass into a small hole in the furnace. Then she immediately absorbed the vitality, swirling it around the middle of her palm. A whirlpool of vitality slowly swirled around her palm. She immediately took a low-level fire crystal, which pill masters used to light fires, and used it. Instantly, a small red fire burned in the middle of the vitality whirlpool. The fire and vitality mixed together. It flowed towards the path of the furnace, and slowly entered. Small bits of fire began to appear inside the medical clay furnace. The shueji grass that had received fire from a pill master slowly began to melt. It seemed like there wasn't much difference between the modern and ancient pill masters. At least the rules were the same. The method that she had learned to refine pills could be used on this world's herbs. The title genius, one must be worthy of it. Seeing that shueji grass has already melted, Huang Bei wanted to put a piece of a wind-attributed Lu Ying grass inside, but at this time, a small crack appeared on the medical furnace. Huang Bei felt something was wrong, so she quickly retrieved her vitality, jumped to her bed, and used the blanket to cover her head. Bang! Name of a genius, 8, _ a burnt smell emerged from the room. Huang Bei lifted her head with a dazed look as she stared at the broken pieces. She half thought about it and started yelling, "I relied on unscrupulous profiteers. They made me lose 50 gold coins rrrr. The first time refining pills, I failed." Huang Bei was so angry that her face turned green. One must know that the shueji grass from that bag was the most expensive. Its worth was 2,000 gold coins, now it was all gone because she had made it explode. For her, who wasn't very wealthy, it was similar to cutting off a piece of her flesh. The vitality within your body is very strong, that kind of trashy medical furnace isn't able to withstand it. You should buy one of a higher grade. Yang's voice, which contained a gloating tone, suddenly could be heard from within her. Huang Bei said coldly, "You say it as if it's easy. Do you think finding a high-grade furnace is that easy? The Nguo Palace has a lotus flame furnace which isn't bad." Yang said leisurely. "Where's the furnace?" "Nguo Palace." Huang Bei squinted her eyes, suddenly she giggled, "Not bad, not bad. The things from Nguo Palace, it suits my tastes." Huang Bei, "That is their precious treasure Precisely because it's their precious treasure, that I like it So what if you like it? Even if you have the power of a 9-star summoner, Nguo Palace still won't give you the lotus flame furnace." Huang Bei started laughing loudly. "Who said I want them to give it to me? The things they give I don't even want, I'll go rob it myself." Yang fell completely speechless. On the second day, the 9-star summoner, Shi Tiandaren, appeared in the Bujio auction house, wearing a black cloak. Before she had even taken out that gold card that young Master Luo Luo had given her, the people immediately recognized who she was and respectfully invited her inside. "Shi Tiandaren, please wait a moment. Young Master Luo Luo will arrive shortly." A beautiful maid brought tea and snacks. She secretly glanced at Huang Bei, her face blushing. "Thank you." Huang Bei lifted the teacup and took a sip under her cloak. Her skinny and small frame had an unspeakable elegance to it, which made the maid admire her. As soon as young Master Luo Luo saw the message, he quickly rushed over. "I apologize for making you wait," young Master Luo Luo said apologetically, as a slight blush covered his handsome face. "No harm." Huang Bei said lightly, "Are there a lot of people who came for the auction?" "A lot. There is a lot." Young Master Luo Luo said enthusiastically, "Our appraisers have already confirmed that Red Spider is a rank 11 spirit beast." Once this news was released, most of the powerful families from the imperial capital came. Now the auction house is packed with no more available seats. Huang Bei was secretly happy under the cloak. She nodded her head slightly and stood up. "Can we start auctioning?" "It's almost starting, we'll go to the guest lounge." Young Master Luo Luo led Huang Bei out. The auction house is very big and the lights are bright. At this moment, all the seats were all full. Everyone talked excitedly, all wearing an expression that said that they must get it. A rank 11 spirit beast with it, one's strength could increase a lot. A 3-star middle level might even be able to immediately jump to 4-star. The road was hard tln, relied equals in Chinese. When pronounced in Chinese, it's kinda a curse. Basically she is cursing at the person who had sold her the medical furnace. Daran equals literal translation is adult, but it's a respectful way of address people. People with some powers are addressed this way. Kind of like Shi Tiansama. She's gonna become rich. 3. The auction convention. 1. As young Master Luo Luo personally led Huang Beiyu to the VIP room, the people sitting in the room looked towards the mysterious 9-star summoner with a reverent and respectful gaze. Similar to a military parade, they just walked past the front row. Lord Luo Luo was 13 years old, Huang Beiyu was 12 years old. Neither of them were tall, however one was the young master of Buji the other one was a 9-star summoner. The background of these two kids surpassed every single person in the auction house. Huang Beiyu was already used to the scenes where people looked at her with respect since long ago, so she walked by in a very relaxed manner, with a cold and noble demeanor, unconsciously letting out an aura similar to that of a strong person. When they nearly reached the VIP room, a group of people from another direction began walking over. The Crown Prince came. The crowd suddenly began to move. Crown Prince Nan Yi, in the hearts of citizens of Nan Yi country, was their absolute pride. In the future, when he took over, he would definitely carry the citizens of Nan Yi country towards a brilliant future. That was what most of the citizens of Nan Yi country thought. Even the 6th princess has come. Really? From what I've heard, the 6th princess is almost at 3 stars. She is indeed the Crown Prince's blood-related sister Sai Bug, the current leader of the Bugo auction house, led the calm and cool-headed Crown Prince. Big brother, it's really big here An excited and beautiful girl stood next to Nan Yi. A pair of big black and white eyes looked curiously at the auction house. It's a laugh for the princess, Sai said modestly with a smiling face. Bugo auction house in the Carter continent was very well respected. Even royalty wouldn't consider the people of Bugo auction house as ordinary people. However, this Princess Ying Yi was a bit embarrassed. Hearing Sai's words, she humphed and sweetly said, Bugo's family is rich and powerful. This princess cannot laugh. I heard that you're not even afraid of royalty. The Crown Prince sighed and frowned. Sai laughed. I don't dare. I am merely a businessman. All the royalties only give me some face. Zhong Yi swept his cold gaze across him, and Princess Ying Yi also didn't continue to talk about this topic. Remembering why she came here today, she opened her mouth. That rank 11 red spider, this princess likes it very much. This many people came to bid, doesn't that mean that this princess will eat a loss? The red spider has thunder attributes, even if you take it, you won't have any use for it, Zhong Yi said lightly. This unruly little sister, she'd been spoiled rotten by the queen, so she doesn't know her limit. I like it. The things that I like, I can't buy it and play with it. Princess Ying Yi said willfully. Sai's face was only full of smiles. Towards a 14-year-old girl, there was no need to argue, not to mention, she was a princess. Sai turned towards Zhong Yi and said, Today, Shi Tiandaran also came, he's in the 3rd VIP room. Zhong Yi's heart moved. It seemed as if red flame-colored hair floated across his eyes. He nodded his head with no expression on his cold face, however, his feet already began moving towards the 3rd VIP room. Father. Young Master Luo Luo, who hadn't entered the VIP room, had heard the sound, and began to walk towards them. Behind him, Huang Beiyu stood while cloaked in black. It didn't seem like she had the intention of going forward to greet them. Princess Ying Yi lifted her eyebrows, looked up and said, You are the newcomer who is a 9-star summoner, Shi Tian? Auction Convention. 2. Moving ahead of Zhong Yi with one step, she crossed over to Huang Beiyu. A pair of almond-shaped eyes looked up and down towards the very normal quality black cloak. The seats at the auction had now been filled with people. Everyone's vision had turned to this side, their foreheads dotted with a large amount of sweat. Princess Ying Yi really had spent her childhood being raised in the deep palace, not understanding anything. How could she think to speak to a 9-star summoner like this? The royal princess against a 9-star summoner. It was a worthwhile sight to see. Sai, the cunning old man, was also holding his hand, standing to one side and grinning but not saying anything. It was then that young Master Luo Luo quickly said, Your Highness, today we are auctioning the red spider, the one Xian Tiandaran dealt with. Of course I know she was the one that dealt with it. The princess released a cold I really like that red spider. How about you don't auction it, instead sell it over to me, I will give you a really high price. Using money to pressure people. This princess has no manners. Luo Luo's face wrinkled. He clearly stated, "That red spider has been given to us the Bugo auction to auction. If your highness likes it, then please follow the normal auction process to auction." Ever since he had spoken a few words with Huang Beiyu at Yu Luo Valley, witnessed and even personally touched her ice spirit bird, Luo Luo was full of admiration towards this mysterious master, not allowing anyone to insult her. "I am the princess. If I said I don't want it to be auctioned, then don't auction it," Princess Yi childishly exclaimed, looking towards Huang Beiyu. "How about it? Do you agree or not?" The person under the black cloak didn't speak a word and remained silent, releasing a body of cold aura. "Hey, I am asking you something." Not getting any response, Princess Yi instead stomped and rushed over. Standing behind her was Zhon Yi, who had taken a step forward, grabbed her shoulder, and sternly stated, "Enough. Royal brother, this person doesn't even put me in his eyes at all." Princess Yi angrily pointed at Huang Beiyu. For the first time in her life someone dared not to answer her questions. Eyes were firmly locked towards this side of the crowd. There was suddenly a movement. Shi Tian Daren moved. Huang Beiyu walked around Princess Yi, walking straight to the third VIP room, as though she had not seen the honorable princess standing in front of her. She really didn't put her in her eyes. Luo Luo's face revealed a happy expression. Too handsome. Xian Tiandaren's aura was superior, graceful and dominating, not inferior to the royal family. Princess Yi was so angry that her nose was crooked. If her brother had not been pulling her, she really wanted to rush over and find that person to reason with him. "Lord Shi Tian." As Huang Beiyu was going into the VIP room, Zhon Yi finally spoke. "Ying Yi is young and naive, I hope you do not mind." To Ying Yi, who has been spoiled rotten since little, even royal father was helpless. Huang Beiyu stood still, slightly turning her head, calmly spoke, "I do not care about two kinds of people, one is the weak, and the other." Under the black cloak's vision she had glanced at Princess Yi for a second. Fools. Princess Yi was stunned, even Luo Luo and Sai Sai Patriarch were stunned. Those who had been standing near had also heard what Huang Beiyu said, all going into a petrochemical, hyped, state. Only after Zhon Yi, who had been startled, the corners of Leng Jun's mouth went slightly up. This Shi Tian. On the outside he looked cold and mysterious, who knew she could actually knock people, and it was that poisonous. In front of so many people, Ying Yi lost a lot of face. She would no doubt think of more ways for revenge, which would lead to a headache later. The auction convention. 3. The auction room was silent for 2 to 3 seconds, then laughter filled the air. It can be heard that people intentionally lowered their voices. The more people the louder the voices, and the laughter had filled Princess Ying Yi's ears. Princess Ying Yi's pretty face had quickly become distorted, a mouth of silver teeth almost crushed. "Shi Tian, I will remember you. Ying Yi, do not be childish, next time I won't take you out." Zhon Yi held in his laughter, with a cold look he would coolly say. "But she was the one to bully me." Princess Ying Yi held her tongue, feeling wronged. In the VIP room, it's a luxurious room. On the side of the auction platform is a huge window. The VIPs inside could look at the auction situation and casually name a price. In the entire auction, there are about 20-something VIP rooms, and the VIPs who are inside right now have walked over to the window to find out what is going on in the third VIP room. Legend has it that the person who had defeated a rank 11 spirit beast, Shi Tian Daren, is in there right now, and everyone wanted to see how he looked like. Huang Beiyu stood by the window and glanced a little down, initially wanted to see if anyone from the family of Xiao was here. However, she accidentally looked over across to the VIP room on the other side. A white clear shadow appeared. The 9th prince of Bei Yarrow country, Feng Lian Yi. Only, this time she could only see the back shadow. He had sat back to the window. On the other side is someone with silky clothing, and holding the fancy fan is Huan Ya Gongzi. That Gongzi is someone with an okay personality, a face filled with warmth and elegance. Not knowing what Feng Lian Yi had said, he folded his fan and started laughing, giving the feeling of spring breeze. "That is Prince Xiao Yarrow, Song Mi." Luo Luo noticed that Huang Beiyu's vision seemed to stop at the VIP room, so he quickly said, "The man with white clothes and his back to the window is Bei Yarrow country's 9th prince, Feng Lian Yi, now at Nan Yi country as a prince that is sent as a hostage." Huang Beiyu lightly nodded. Her memory of Prince Xiao Yao was a hidden person. Nan Yi was top refining pharmacists. Looking at the whole Cart continent, he is also at the top. This person embodies arrogance, having his eye above the top, rarely interacting with anyone, even if it is the royal family's face, he might not even sell. Occasionally refining a few pills, it would make powerful people from all countries come over for grabs. Because refining pharmacists are so rare, like Song Mi, reaching the 6th product level for refining pharmacists, is even more rare. Can't even believe it, with the enemy's hostage, he is actually chatting happily. Huang Beiyu just slightly looked to the other side for a peek, then walked over to her seat to sit down, slowly sipping her tea. The auction was about to start. At this moment, someone had pushed the door coming in, speaking a few sentences at Luo Luo's ear. Luo Luo's eyebrow frowned, speaking lowly. Shi Tiandaren is probably not going to see any guests. Tell that as response to Nguo Gong. Nguo Gong. Huang Beiyu looked up. Her corners of her mouth suddenly revealed a treacherous smile. Coming just in time. Coming just in time. Young Master Luo Luo, please tell Au Guo Gong to come in. Yes. Luo Luo scratched his head. He spoke in such a low voice but she still heard. Soon, Nguo Gong came in with his precious son Xueche with an ecstasy expression, looking up to the person sitting by the window, one hand leaning on the windowsill, casually, with a small stature, faintly revealing the master style of the person under the black cloak, the light in his eyes almost becoming real. I am Yang Xue, fortunate enough to meet Shi Tiandaren and get acquainted. Nguo Gong politely walked up, bending his back, body fill with fat that trembled. The auction convention. 4. Now you're calling yourself that. That time in Princess Zhong's prefecture. Towards her he was, this lord, this lord. Huang Beiyu, using a hoarse and clear tone said, Nguo Gong, no need to be so courteous. This Shi Tiandaren doesn't have the arrogance like other summoner, letting Nguo Gong relax a little. Quickly, he pulled Xueche up, and said, this is Xueche, who admires you very much. I brought him here specially just to greet you. Che come here and pay your respect to Shi Tiandaren. Since he walked in, Xueche was overjoyed. The VIP rooms in front of them could see the situations outside. He could talk to Shi Tiandaren in the same VIP room. The next day, it would be known all throughout Linhuai City. Xueche pays respect to Shi Tiandaren. Xueche almost bowed 90 degrees, very devout. The woman whom he had abandoned yesterday, now became the one he admired the most. If Xueche know that the woman under the black cloak is Huang Beiyu, he will definitely spit out blood. This is the 9-star summoner who have the ice spirit bird R. If she wasn't abandoned by him yesterday, then in their Nguo household, there will be a 9-star summoner expert. Then his wife will be this person that everyone respect. Unfortunately divorce, and all their connections are broken. Huang Beiyu coldly smiled. The son and father of Nguo obviously did not see it. The vitality on Xuegong's body, it's the attribute of thunder, right? Xueche blinked, and became more excited. Don't even need to see him move, just one glance at him, is able to see that he have the thunder attribute. This Shi Tiandaren, is what level expert are. Yes, yes. Xueche said excitedly, almost incoherent. That spider, it also have the thunder attribute. If Xuegongzi is able to win the bid, maybe you could advance 1 star. An escarsti-colored red emerged from Xueche's face, secretly thinks in his heart, Shi Tiandaren is giving him an advice. He's also concerned about his strength. A superior, 9-star summoner is actually worried about him who is a 4-star summoner whom he met for the first time. Could it be that Shi Tiandaren see that there might be something special about him? Yes. He must have some aspect that is special about him and Shi Tiandaren saw. Xueche thought dreamily, but to say there is something that is special about his body that is found by Huang Beiyu, then there is one. That is the way his body naturally emit a stupid aura. The fact that she reminded them, and Nguo Gong will definitely muster all his strength to get that red spider, since he must have it, even if the price reach an incredible height, he will still buy it. The price that they must pay for angering her, let them lose some money first. Many thanks to Shi Tiandaren for reminding, I will definitely get that red spider. Xueche vowed. When Nguo Palace's father and son left, Luo Luo is a big puzzles and asked quietly, Shi Tiandaran, that Xueche is always bossy, in school. He always bully those who are weaker than him. If he get that red spider and his power gets stronger, then he will be even more arrogant. In his heart, Shi Tiandaran is someone who is like a saint being. He would never collaborate with someone like Xueche, so Shi Tiandaran reminding Xueche, there must be a reason. Huang Bei, you said lightly, if you dislike a person, you first have to put them on a high pedestal, let him see hope, then let him fall down. Then you can finally say you ruined him. The auction convention. 5. Luo Luo blinked his eyes. Then, coming to an understanding, his heart feels happy. So Shi Tiandaran doesn't want to help Xueche, but rather, Shi Tiandaran wants to completely destroy Xueche's arrogance. But, didn't Shi Tiandaran have just come to Lan Lin Huai? How did Xueche offend him? Why does he want to deal with Xueche? Seeming as if Huang Bei Yu saw through Luo Luo's heart, Huang Bei Yu lightly said, I have a friend who was bullied by him. So that's how it is. Realization suddenly dawned on Luo Luo and he said, that Xueche is so arrogant. He even dare offend Shi Tiandaran's friend. He deserved to die. The auction hall suddenly quieted down. The auction had begun. The glamorous and young female auctioneer went onto the stage. The assistants also pushed a large golden cage onto the stage. On top of the cage was a restraint placed on by a summoners, which helps restrain the anger of the rank 11 red spider. Before the red spider have made an official contract with a summoner, the red spider still poses a threat. So it needs to be restrained using this cage, and outside of the cage, it needs to be restrained by using inner strength. The silk cloth on the cage was pulled off, but the inner strength is still surrounding the cage, restraining the red spider. The red spider stared at them with a fierce gaze. That deep red color of its body blinded their eyes. The thunder attribute of inner strength that its body emit is very strong. This is a rank 11 spirit beast that has been defeated yet still have such a murderous aura. The hearts of the people in the auction hall beat fiercely. This is the first time they have seen such a high-level spirit beast. In their eyes are filled with greed. If only they could have it and form a contract with this red spider, then no matter how weak they are, facing any summoner who is lower than 5 stars or normal soldiers, they would be able to fight against. This means that it'll help make up for the lack of innate talent and directly becoming strong. And if they form a contract with the rank 11 red spider, when the red spider's cultivation grow, the owner's cultivation will also grow. With high level leading low level, the cultivation speed will double R. On the second floor VIP room, Xueche's eyes glowed when he saw the red spider. He clenched his hands and trembled excitedly. Father, if I get it, then I will become more powerful. And Guo Gong rubbed his chin and nodded his head. The two small's eyes on his fat and chubby face began calculating. Not bad, this spider, no matter how much it cost, we must get it. The father and son both have a glint in their eyes which showed that they must get it. On the next VIP room, Princess Ying Yi sits on the windowsill. The pair of beautiful almond eyes stare only at the red spider, tilted her head and said to the crown prince Zhongyi behind him. Royal brother, that Shi Tian really just used one strike to defeat that rank 11 red spider? Those mercenaries would not being lying, right? Even with so much distance between them, she can still feel the inner strength that flow through the red spider. Such a strong spirit beast, using only one strike to defeat it, isn't that too scary? Shi Tian's strength is very strong, you have to respect her. Zhongyi glanced at the red spider, but he is also surprised. How should I know that famous Shi Tian looked that small? Princess Ying Yi muttered. When she had entered the VIP room before, she has already been scolded by her royal brother. If you dare say those kind of things in front of her face, I will definitely never bring you outside of the palace again. Zhongyi said coldly. Auction convention. 6. I know. Princess Ying Yi took a look at the red spider, and said, Royal brother, if it was you, can you kill a rank 11 red spider with one shot? Zhongyi slightly pouted his lips, raising his eyebrows, saying, killing it isn't hard, but to tame it, then probably not. If spirit beasts were that easily to tame, throughout the ages, the jobs of summoner wouldn't be that rare. Spirit beasts were born to be brilliant, rather dying than to surrender, If summoners and spirit beasts didn't cooperate together, it is really hard for them to be willing to surrender. In the process of battling, the strength used cannot be grasped so cleverly, only hurting the spiritual animal badly, and letting their emotions reveal a strong sense of fear, having no other way, not wanting to die, therefore the only way is to surrender, not being able to find a second option. Letting a rank 11 red spider to surrender, Shi Tian's power, is unpredictable. Yi quietly spit her tongue. Is that Shi Tian really that powerful? The glamorous auctioneer was on stage explaining to the audience the grade of the red spider, strength, and origin, once dominating Luo Valley for a couple of years, giving thousands of soldiers a headache is the rank 11 spirit beast, today can become the obedient spirit beast, even better to use than the summon monster, this huge desire, let everyone become mesmerized. Speaking to the part to who had tamed the spirit beast, the glamorous auctioneer turned her face towards the third VIP room's direction, both hands crossing over on the chest, facing the mysterious person respectfully bowing down. The beautiful girl smilingly said, Lei Li Sai is really honored to be able to auction this high-level spirit beast for Shi Tian Daren. Much thanks. A faint voice from under the black cloak spoke. Lei Li Sai then stood up, officially starting the auction. Under the audience's greedy eyes, Lei Li Sai's charming voice spoke, the rank 11 red spider, owning him, can let lower-level spiritual animals upgrade 1 star. It can let warriors or ordinary people own a spirit beast. Limited to only this one, it's really hard to get. The starting price is 8 million gold coins, please bid. 8 million. In the VIP room is Huang Beiyu who touched her nose. This price in the end is still beyond her expectations. She originally thought the price of the red spider wouldn't in any way be higher than the crystal fruit. If advertised well, can bid 1 or 2 million, she will still be very happy. However, she didn't think the family of Bujie would be so cheating, starting at 8 million. If this was the case, she could almost see a golden shiny road to make money in the future. Shi Tian Daren, is this starting price satisfying? Luo looked at her, because he couldn't see her, so his face revealed a cute expression of expectations. Satisfying. It should be said very satisfying. Huan Beiyu was laughing inside her heart. Young Master Luo, after the auction, how should I thank you? As a person, she didn't like owing anyone anything. If someone has done something for her, she will surely repay them back. Luo waved his hand, flattered. No, it is not necessarily, father had said. You are able to come to our auction is already the biggest benefit for us. Our auction also needs to say thanks to you. Huang Beiyu didn't say any more. She will just remember the favor in her heart. One day when she has a chance, she will definitely repay them back. Not even close to 1 minute, the price has already been soaring to 15 million gold coins, and people are still bidding one after the other. The auction was hustling. Those that are able to bid such high prices are continuing to bid in full swing, and those that can't can only enviously watch. Auction Convention, 7, and Guogong father and son didn't bid yet. Already the sneaky and Guogong knew, when the auction started and if he begin to bid, it will reveal his deep interests for the red spider, then if someone wants to go against him and continue bidding he will be the one to suffer a loss. So he is waiting, when only a few people are bidding, and for the price to become more normal, then when he bid, he will be able to win the bid with just one chance. Humph. I will bid 20 million gold coins. 20 million gold coins, still good. 22 million gold coins. It had came from someone from the VIP room with a proud and clear voice. Hearing this voice, she lifted her indifferent eyebrow. Xiao Yun. Gee, even Xiao Yun has come to join in on the fun. She remembers Xiao Yun's body strength property is ice property and thunder property together can't produce much results, but it can increase the lethality. However, spending too much money on a thunder property spiritual beast, to her has not that much benefits, but since concubine Shui is willing to sacrifice a lot to let her come to auction, it is shown that both mother and daughter holds the Qing He Jun's country tax, and their days spent are nice. 25 million gold coins. After Xiao Yun's voice, Princess Ying Yi had started speaking after. As though she had also seen the people in the VIP room, Princess Ying Yi had begun to laugh. Oh, if it isn't Princess Zhong's prefecture, Xiao Yun who's born from a concubine, you also like this spiritual beast? Then come on and compete with me then. Concubine child. These two words had deeply stabbed Xiao Yun's self-esteem, her face revealing a burst of redness, but the opposing side is the princess, so she can't do anything about it, so she could only force a couple laughter. Please your royal highness have mercy on me. I don't like showing mercy. If I was to lose to a concubine's child, tomorrow when I go to school, I will become the laughingstock then. Huang Beiyu heard this and was laughing in her heart, so it turns out that this Princess Yi likes to be high-profiled, enjoy to eliminate people, and even using sharp word choices, sentences after another going straight for the key towards Xiao Yun, so interesting. It can be imagined that, the always proud and opinionated Xiao Yun's facial expression now, will reveal what a wonderful and interesting expression. Xiao Yun forced herself to laugh a couple times. At this time, the voice of concubine Qin also appeared. I'm saying second daughter, how are you able to win against your highness? You're just a concubine's child, who if you let the princess lose her face, be careful that your highness will go to the emperor and tell on you. If the emperor is not happy, your father's days will not pass by peacefully. How can that be? It's just children playing around. How would that let the emperor to be unhappy? Concubine Shui hurriedly but carefully responded. Oh, fooling around, Princess Yi is the emperor's most important person. Sister Shui, it's not like you don't know this. Concubine Qin harshly exclaimed, her voice soft, isn't that so, master? Xiao Yuan Cheng with a stern voice sternly says, Yun don't bid for it, you have ice property, what is the use of a thunder property? Although it is a pity, with Xiao Yun's talent getting that red spider will have a great help, but competing with Princess Yi to bid, better to not bid instead. Father. Xiao Yun childishly whine, you promised, that red spider will be mine. Yun do not trouble your father, just a red spider, your father loves you, there are other good things he will think of to give you. Concubine Shui knew better than to keep arguing. Concubine Qin's few words, always stab in Xiao Yuan Cheng's wound. Ever since Princess Zhong had passed away, the emperor's attitude towards Xiao Yuan Cheng seems to increasingly become colder as day passed by. Auction Convention 8. Thinking about the future, now is not the time to do something to make the emperor unhappy. Listening to the noise over there, Huang Beiyu laughed ecstatically inside her heart, so Xiao Yuan Cheng and the others had also come. If only she had known earlier, then she would have set a trap for them. Her mind had flashed by quickly. Huang Beiyu all of a sudden waved to Luo Luo. Luo Luo's handsome face turned red, lowering his head, letting Huang Beiyu speak a few sentences to his ear. He smelled a faint smell of perfume. It is a girl's special type of body scent, and mixed with a little medicine incense. Inside his heart he was surprised, so Shi Tian Daren was a woman. Even though Lin Huai Cheng had spread a rumor that there was a 9-star summoner that was a red-haired witch, Luo Luo hasn't ever believed it, so the powerful Shi Tian Daren really is a girl. And it seems, her body still has young girl's incense young girl. Once these two words made its way to Luo Luo's mind, Luo Luo's face turned beet red. Is it okay? Huang Beiyu lifted her head, looking at his handsome face which was slowly turning red, was stunned for a moment. Young Master Luo Luo, what happened? Oh, no, nothing. Luo Luo hurriedly shook his head, his heart was panicking. I'll immediately go do it. Running outside panicking, and even tripped a couple times, almost falling down. Huang Beiyu who was looking, was also worried. What is wrong with this kid? Turning around to see what is going on in the auction, the bidding right now can be described as going into its highest peak. There was fewer people who were bidding, the likelihood for the price to increase is decreasing. 60 million gold coins. Princess Ying Yi's clear voice rang. The auction venue had become silent for a while. No one dared to compete against the princess. However, the desire to own a spiritual beast is too big. It was such a dilemma. And Guo Gong sneakily laughed a couple times, slowly raising his sign from the VIP room. 65 million gold coins. Lei Li Ya's beautiful face revealed a smile that would have let all the men be distracted. And Guo Gong bids for 65 million gold coins. Is there anyone else who will bid higher? Jumping past 5 million gold coins all of a sudden, this type of generosity, no doubt it is in Guo Gong. Ying Yi glanced at her, carelessly blurting out, 70 million gold coins. And Guo Gong's eyebrow twitched a couple times, but still remaining calm, raising his sign, 72 million gold coins. 75 million gold coins. Princess Yi not even letting down a bit. Inside Nguogong's heart he was already starting to insult her. This immature princess doesn't know anything. What does she want with a thunder property spiritual beast? Always coming out to spoil his plan. However, 75 million gold coins doesn't count that much. To their Nguogong's house, money isn't the problem. They need strength. The stronger the strength the better. This old fat man Nguogong's heart is very restless, a greedy heart, right now is beating quickly. 78 million gold coins. Nguogong continues to raise his sign. At this time, the VIP room in which Princess Yi is in, a servant came running in, politely speaking a few sentences to Prince Zhongyi. Zhongyi raised his head, looking towards Huang Beiyu. Huang Beiyu slightly raised her glass at him. Zhongyi nodded at her, immediately going over to grab Princess Yi who was going to name her price. Her small movement was seen by the third VIP room's Xueche who was paying attention to her. Xueche's heart suddenly became excited. Shi Tiandaren really was helping him. A 9-star summoner actually valued him so much, he needs to get this red spider. Princess Yi was scolded by Zhongyi, then sat on one side pouting, but didn't participate in the bidding anymore. The auction convention, 9. After that, only Nguogong and a few others who are capable are left. But Nguogong's family is rich, every time, he always adding a few 10,000s of gold coins, so his opponents are helpless. Seeing that less and less people are bidding, the price stopped at 99 million gold coins. 99 million gold coins, this price, although it had surpassed a little of what he expected, but he is still willing. 99 million gold coins, is anyone else willing to bid? Lei Li Sai smiled and looked at the stage. After the bidding had started, many people already have beads of sweat appear on their forehead. 99 million gold coins, it's an impressive figure. For buying a few high-grade products, it's enough. It'll allow her to practice refining pills without worrying about her wealth. Starting the bid from 8 million, increasing it to 99 million, this figure already made her very, very satisfied. Now, just waiting for the beautiful auctioneer to knock the hammer to finalize it. Nguogong showed a relaxed smile, lifted his teacup to drink his tea leisurely. Rank 11 red spider, finally in my hand. Xueche murmured. He has already stood up, looking at red spider that will finally become his property. However, at this time, an elegant voice sounded, 100 million gold coins. Nguogong spit out his tea, his eyes bulged out from his fat face, immediately looking for the person who had just spoken. Who is it? Lei Li Sai's charming voice is full of excitement. Prince Xiao Yarrow bid 100 million gold coins, is anyone else willing to bid? That charming and mature face slowly began to blush attractively. Lei Li Sai looked admirably at the 16th VIP room's man who's dressed in a dark attire. His hand holding the fan, elegantly fanning it, a few wisp of black hair brush his pair of spring-like eyes. A faint smile slowly formed at his lips, so elegant and handsome, even the flowers next to him lose their beauty compared to him. His laughter quickly swept the crowd. Finally his laughter landed on Nguogong's fat face. Thank you Nguogong, for letting me have it. That one smile, even Huang Beiyu whom have seen all kind of celebrities and aristocrats, was also absent-minded for a second. The title of Prince Xiao Yarrow isn't just for show, that kind of ability, the way he elegantly laughed down at the world, it is indeed happy, his name means carefree and happy. Feng Lian Yi Zi who is behind him, is even more indifferent. Inside the VIP room, it is not known when they had placed a chessboard. His back faced the crowd as he studied the chess pieces, seeming as if everything within the auction hall is not related to him. Nguogong's fat face formed an ugly smile, coldly said, Prince Xiao Yarrow is a pill master, I don't know what you would need the red spider for. Prince Xiao Yarrow smiled faintly. This prince heard that even if you're not a summoner, still could make a contract with the red spider. I am a pill master, so I'm not skilled. So I hope that the red spider will protect my safety. What a joke. Nguogong's face twitched. As the top pill master in the Cart continent, how many experts would rush to come to lift his shoe? How would he face any danger? That smelly little kid with the surname of Song is deliberately going against him. He must have that red spider. How could he give it to someone else? Auction convention, 110 million. Nguogong had an amazing aura. Humph, such a high price. The whole country of Nan Yi, how many people would even be able to bid with this price? However, the angry Nguogong seemed to forget about that refining pharmacists on the continent of Kart is one of the few jobs that make the most money. Prince Xiao Yarrow was calm, softly folding his fan back and forth. 120 million. 130 million. No way was Nguogong going to surrender. The audience was speechless. Really rich people are, when adding on to the previous prices they always increase it by 10 million, 10 million. Regardless of how much Nguogong clenched his teeth bidding a higher price, Prince Xiao Yarrow always bid closely behind, pressuring him down. In the end, Nguogong's fat face has become distorted. Lifting his hand to wipe off the sweat from his face, thinking in his heart that this time he wouldn't be able to win against this kid, Song am I, how about? Just as he had the idea to give up, Xueche came closely and whispered, "Father, this red spider and I are both thunder property. If I have him, no doubt it will benefit and make me more powerful, and our strength will also advance a level." Nguogong swallowed his saliva. But with the situation now, if he continues to compete with Song Mi, he is scared he wouldn't be able to win. Now the price had almost rise to 200 million. This was not a small number. The Nguogong house is rich, but if he continues to add the price, they probably wouldn't even be able to buy it now. Looking over to one side, he saw Prince Xiao Yarrow remaining calm, not even wrinkling his eyebrow once, and Nguogong felt mad in his heart. "Prince, your Highness leaves well." Following Feng Lianyi's side was bodyguard Yu Wendi, who walked up, whispering. Song Mi laughed, walking back, observing the checkerboard, quickly placing down his part, then start over at the window, continuing to bid price. Nguogong, who had saw this, was so mad that his nose was crooked. This Prince Xiao Yarrow was a son of a bitch. What is his motive today? Is he purposely playing him? Humph. Dare to play him. He is not someone to go against either. You want high price, I'll give you a high price. 250 million gold coins. Nguogong suddenly shouted the price, then look over triumphantly at Prince Xiao Yarrow. I dare you to add, continue to add, this red spider. Today, even if this old man didn't want it, it's fine. But it is necessary to give you a high price, so you will spit out blood. After this high price was yelled, the people in the auction started to murmur. 250 million gold coins. Nguogong is too generous. The audience's eyes went to Nguogong, and then look over to see Prince Xiao Yarrow, who didn't even blink his eyes. As a refining pharmacist, every year the number of people bringing gold-silver mountains to Xiao Yarrow Wang begging him to refine medicine was unknown. His wealth probably cannot even be calculated. 250 million, to Prince Xiao Yarrow, is probably only a small number in his eyes. The audience now have the ability to endure whatever is going on, all waiting for Prince Xiao Yarrow to add on to the price. Today bidding a price to the heavens wouldn't even come as a shock. Huang Bei, you also looked towards Prince Xiao Yarrow. This person didn't seem like he is eager to get the red spider, more like bidding such a high price to cheat them. What? Cheat people? Huang Bei, you slowly begin to laugh. This person is quite interesting. Nguogong is quite generous. 250 million gold coins. Gee, never mind, never mind. I am always frugal, such a luxury spiritual beast, can't afford it. Prince Xiao Yarrow suddenly folded his folding fan, personable, turning over to Nguogong softly smiling. Congrats to Nguogong for bidding such a high price to snatch this rare treasure. From now on, the country of Nan Yi will have another master. I'll let you have it. 1. Hearing this, Nguogong no doubt had understood that Prince Xiao Yarrow wanted to play a trick on him. He immediately got so angry that smoke is rising out of his face, almost becoming breathless because of his anger. Originally with 100 million gold coins he could have solved the problem. Now because of this son of a bitch's interference, the price had rose another 150 million gold coins. 150 million gold coins are. That is the income for half a year of Nguogong's house. But this Nguogong can also be counted as an important figure. Having been attacked in front of everyone, he actually was able to contain his fury still. which shows that he has such a very deep and sophisticated mind. He stood up, cupping his hand as a sign of respect, saying, "Prince Xiao Yao, you're a competitor worth having. You are welcome." Prince Xiao Yao slightly smiles, the typical kind of getting more than bargained for and acting good. At the auction stage, seeing that no one had bid a price, then a hammer had landed down. Congrats on Guogong, receiving this rank 11 spiritual beast. After paying the payment, Shi Tia Daran will come help you complete the contract between you and the spiritual beast. If it isn't the tamer and the spiritual beast that had tied the knot, the tamer must be present, otherwise the spiritual beast will rebel. Even though the price was higher than expected by around 100 million gold coins, but being able to get this rank 11 spiritual beast, and Guogong and his son felt a little better. Xue Che cannot wait to stand up, going over to complete the contract with the red spider. However, at the auction stage a beautiful girl came walking up with a tray. Lei Li Sai's eyes sparkled, receiving the tray, saying, "Today there is a really unexpected surprise. Everyone knows that Shi Tian Daran's spiritual beast is one of the 5 spiritual beast Ice Luan spirit bird. Yesterday, Shi Tian Daran used the ice spirit bird's one ice feather as a weapon, taming the red spider." Once the audience had heard something related to Shi Tian Daran and the Ice Luan spirit bird and seeing the auction item, everyone began to listen immediately with interest, their 2 eyes staring at the tray. What treasure is it this time? Lei Li Sai didn't plan on withholding the information from everyone. With one hand she revealed the red silk on the tray, a dazzling color like the snow begins to shine. The water color of a gem, which made everyone's eye reflecting a pure ice blue color. Ice feather. It is an ice feather. Can this be the ice feather from the Ice Luan spirit bird? Many people had gasped, getting excited. Just an ice feather from the Ice Luan spirit bird. Even if people are just watching from afar, they are still able to feel the inner strength and the domineering aura that belongs to the super spiritual beast. 5 spiritual beasts are such precious jewels. Now the whole continent, Prince John Yi of the country of Nan Yi owns the purple fire unicorn, and Shi Tian Daran owns the Ice Luan spirit bird, as well as East China and West Rome country who each owns one. The last one has yet to appear. The vast continent of Kart, with numerous spiritual beasts, but only these one, are sacred and inviolable. The summoner who possesses the 5 spiritual beast, having a status in all the countries that many admire, didn't even need to auction anything off the body of the spiritual beast. So with the appearance of the ice feather, immediately setting off a huge wave of excitement to the entire auction, the beautiful auctioneer Lei Li Sai temptingly exclaimed, "This ice feather is the one used yesterday to tame the red spider, not only rare to own, but holds an extraordinary meaning too. Father, that is the ice spirit bird's ice feather. Ice property, the same as me. If I had an ice feather as a weapon, my strength will most definitely advance another level." In the VIP room next door, Xue Yun had lowly exclaimed. On the other side, Huang Bei Yu had satisfyingly lifted her corner of her lip. Not bad, an ice property summoner owning a high-grade weapon, their strength will most definitely multiply. And this is why refining pharmacists and refining tool masters had received a lot of admiration on the continent. I'll let you have it, too. Often, a good refining pill master will also be a talented refining tool master. If there are good materials, a high-level refining tool master would be able to create a high-level weapon. A weapon is a key component in a combat. A 3-star summoner with a high-level weapon is able to fight on equal grounds with a 4-star summoner who doesn't have a high-level weapon. Of course, that is if you are able to control the soul of the high-level weapon. Hihi, you aren't thinking about selling that ice feather to your older sister? Yang said from her heart. Why can't I? Yang smiled coldly. If she can't control the soul within that ice feather, then the aftermath will be a bit serious. It's not my problem. She sell things, her product's quality have no problem. How it's used is all up to Xiao Yun. Moreover, Xiao Yun does not necessarily have the ability to win the bid for the ice feather. In any case, you guys are still blood-related sisters. Blood-related sisters? Does she even qualify? Huang Bei Yu coldly sneered. The people who are good to her and those who aren't good to her, she clearly knows how to distinguish them. Yang released a joyful sigh. This little girl's spirit and character, he really likes it. That kind of cold arrogance, but not lacking of unfeeling evilness, is close to his spirit aura. He, the two of them, is simply born to be together. That year, that person had sealed him inside Huang Beiyu's body, in order to suppress his evil influence. But that person would have never thought, the person he picked personally, in fact, have the same spirit as him are. Yang was laughing evilly when, at the same time, on the auction stage, Lalisha is about to announce the staring price for the auction item. Shi Tiandaran have decided to sell the ice feather for 1 gold coin as starting price. Please bid. 1 gold coin. 1 gold coin are 1 feather of the ice Luan spirit bird, with only 1 gold coin as the starting price. This is like the sky is dropping pies are. That Shi Tiandaran must be an expert such an expert style, making everyone respect him. After everyone expressed their gratitude and thanks to Huang Beiyu, they began to muster their strength to bid. They all want to get that ice feather, everyone's afraid of letting others be one step ahead of them. Therefore, everyone is increasing the price rapidly, simply chaotic. When the bidding began, it increased by a few hundred of gold coins, afterwards, it increased at tens of thousands of gold coins. And when the genius, Xiao Yunyi in the VIP room added 1 million gold coins, the price began to rise even more quickly. Huang Beiyu listened to the figures, smiled so much that her mouth almost crooked. If the black cloak isn't blocking her, allowing young master Luo see her like this, he will be greatly surprised. Ice, I would have never thought your feather is worth so much money. I bet I will never be out of money in the future, haha. Although the Ice Luan spirit bird isn't here, Huang Beiyu can communicate with her inside her heart using spirit force. Her words, the Ice Luan spirit bird can obviously hear. Master, in fact, there are many medicinal herbs that are worth more than my feather. Next time, I can take you there to look for it. The Ice Luan spirit bird quickly said, as he thought about being plunked in the future, he feels like the world is going to end. He doesn't want to be a featherless bird Huang Beiyu mischievously laughed. Medical herbs is valuable, your feather is also valuable Father, this ice feather you must win the bid for me. Next door, after Xiao Yun heard the quickly rising price of the bids, she can't help but feel urgent. So there's a snowstorm tomorrow from where I live, I might not have Wi-Fi so I might not be able to post anything tomorrow see. I'll let you have it. 3. Xiao Yuan Cheng saw that the VIP room across his, Princess Yingyi seems to have no intention of fighting over the ice feather. She lazily sat there, not ready to bid. Since the princess is not fighting for it, then he can bravely bid. Xiao Yun is his favorite daughter, the pride of their Xiao family. She is also their biggest hope. Because of Yun Er's talent, the esteemed father pays him a little bit of attention. So as long as it's Xiao Yun's request, he will definitely do his best to fulfill it. Good. No matter how high the price is, father will definitely buy it for you. Xiao Yuan Cheng said boldly. Xiao Yun was happy and immediately continued to bid. She was extravagant with the money she bid, making people flabbergasted. Concubine Qin was unhappily and coldly humphed. Huang Beiyu's hearing ability is great, because of her strong spiritual power, the little movements around her cannot escape her eyes and ears. So the movements next door, she is crystal clear on what's happening. She cannot help but coldly sneer inside. They're both his daughter, Xiao Yun and Huang Beiyu, but the treatment for one is up in the sky, while the treatment for the other is down below the ground. Huang Beiyu is only this little, except the years that Princess Zhong was still alive, Xiao Yuan Cheng would still follow etiquette. When Princess Zhong have died, Xiao Yuan Cheng's attitude could be seen as a stranger who's even more of a stranger. He didn't even give her an iron coin since Princess Zhong's death. And Xiao Yun. She was put inside his palm, standing highly above, whatever she wanted, she get. Similar to Humph, Xiao Yuan Cheng, one day I will may you pay for everything you've done in the past. 50 million coins. Xiao Yun throws out a high price in powerful and resonating voice, immediately shocking the people in the auction hall. She stand proudly and arrogantly like a princess, standing outside of the window. Even though there is a lot of noble ladies and gentlemen watching her, she also thinks that the her right now is very eye-catching. The identity of a child of a concubine that had brought her the pain of inferiority, but now that pain went away a little bit. The people in the auction house look at each other in dismay. Although the ice feather of the Ice Swan spirit bird is very precious, but for people who doesn't have the ice attribute, there isn't any practical effect. To high-star summoners, the use of it won't be that great. Those below 6 stars would be able to use more of its powers. Everyone is fighting for it. That's only because it's part of the 5/5 Spirits Ice Swan spirit bird, which is precious and rare. A feather to put at home, it could also be a family heirloom. But to use 50 million gold coins to bid for it, then hasn't that person gone crazy and lost their mind? That Xiao Yun is a genius who have a innate talent that haven't been seen for 100 years in the Xiao family. It just so happens that she have the ice attribute. If she have the ice feather of the Ice Swan spirit bird, her ability will increase greatly, so she have to spend a lot. After the price of 50 million gold coins was announced, no one else have continued to bid. Xiao Yun is joyfully satisfied as she looked at Lei Li Sai hit the hammer. That ice feather of the Ice Swan spirit bird is hers. Congratulations to young lady Xiao Yun to win the bid for the ice feather. Lei Li Sai smilingly said. The auction ended. Huang Bei Yu also stood up. She went to the lounge in the back of the auction house to help Xue Che and the Red Spider make a life contract. In the lounge, Nguo Gong and his son have already waited there expectantly. The patriarch of Bug Sai Sai, is also there. Also the beautiful auctioneer, Lei Li Sai, as well as Crown Prince Zhon Yi and Princess Ying Yi. That red spider is kept inside the cage, its body glowed brilliantly red. However, it's full of killing intent. A pair of angry eyes viewed the people around it as enemies. The red spider's legs made threatening gestures, waving them. The 8 legs would bring intense and sharp sting, while thunder rays formed around its body in a protective field. Just by seeing the light, one would know how powerful this red spider is. I'll let you have it. 4. Xue Che's face revealed a really exciting look. Strong, too strong. He can already imagine, not long, this red spider will completely surrender to his feet, doing as he please. This is more arrogant than the contract between the superior beast and its summoner, because the contract between the superior beast and its summoner is mutually using each other. Sometimes the summoner will still be afraid of the spiritual beast. However, this red spider is already tamed by Shi Tian Daren, waiting for him to conclude the contract. That is not mutually helping one another, but rather the red spider had bowed down to him. That red spider seems to know that Xue Che is the one that will enslave him, the whole body shining, a pair of eyes sparkling sharply, revealing a killing aura, staring at him ruthlessly. The front 2 legs keep flapping at the cage. It seems like it wants to rush out and tear Xue Che apart, then swallow him. This rank 11 spiritual beast's angry aura is not a joke. Xue Che looked at it and swallowed a mouthful of saliva, trembling in his heart. At this time, young Master Luo Luo pushed the door open. Behind him the person under the mysterious cloak came in, body filled with coldness. With a petite body, but the aura of the elegant, cold, and strong woman was evident. Once she walked in, that mad red spider immediately calmed down, seems to bring it. Its eyes turned towards Huang Bei Yu. After that it immediately retreated back a couple steps. The rays begin to flash more intensively, its 8 legs putting out a look of self-protection, protecting its body, obviously being afraid of this person. From being unprecedented to being a follower, all because of a person's presence. Zhon Yi couldn't help but to look over at Huang Bei Yu, thinking in his heart, this Shi Tian really is powerful, and only the spiritual beast that was tamed by her knows how strong and scary her strength is. Shi Tian Daren. Xue Che's eyes shined, walking over to her excitedly, bowing over to her, thank you so much. Huang Bei Yu only slightly nodded her head. The lounge contained so many important people, yet she didn't make eye contact with anyone, such a proud and cold aura, but not making anyone feel unpleasant. The arrogance of the strong is also respected by people. She walked straight over to the cage, lightly exclaiming, begin. As she was talking, she opened the cage containing the high-level inner strength protection. This movement led everyone in the lounge to let out a gasp. Princess Ying Yin loudly exclaimed, hey, be aware of the thunder surrounding it which can injure people. After the auctioning from before, the contest between Princess Ying Yi and Xiao Yun, Huang Beiyu's impression of the princess wasn't as bad anymore. Plus, even though Princess Ying Yin had shouted loudly somewhat impolitely, it was because she was afraid that the red spider's thunder would hurt her. No problem. She lightly says. Compared to the tone in the VIP lounge when she called Princess Ying Yin a fool, it was much softer. Princess Ying Yin blinked her eyes, closing her mouth, but in her heart she was thinking, this person is so weird, why did her tone get better all of a sudden? With the cage open, because the red spider was afraid of Huang Beiyu's pressure on it, it didn't dare to move. Whenever it remembered the power she contained yesterday, this red spider didn't dare to challenge the power of the strong. She reached out her hand, pressing on the red spider's back, under the black cloak's cover, only revealing a small section of her white delicate finger, reflecting on the red shell of the red spider. Extraordinary. Zhong Yi's vision unconsciously became drawn to the small section of the finger she revealed. She really was a girl, not to mention how young she is. Where did she come from? This young, but her strength is so powerful. I'll let you have it. 5. Without a large family to rely on as a backing, plus the additional guidance of an expert, it's almost impossible to cultivate to this extent. Come here. Huang Beiyu lifted her head, looked towards Xueqie. Xueqie's heart trembled. The killing intent of the rank 11 is too strong. If he leans over and the red spider gets angry, he's afraid that there won't be any pieces of him left. But if he showed weakness at this moment, then Shi Tiandaren will be very disappointed with him. His bright future will then be destroyed. Xueqie clenched his teeth, nevertheless use all his courage to walk over. Let's start the contract. Xueqie swallowed a mouthful of his saliva, nodded his head. He slowly extended his hand out, carefully pressed it against the red spider's back, pressed it for a while, making sure it's okay. Then he started read the contract, to conclude a life contract with the red spider. A faint ray of golden light shot out from Xueqie's palm, the lights burst, then it slowly vanished. At the same time, this brash red spider finally became truly docile. No one had saw that when Xueqie's palm shot out a flash of golden light, Huang Beiyu's palm also have a faint black light that flowed into the red spider's body. Go against me, I'll let you have a taste of death. It succeeded. Xueqie already can feel the red spider's breath within him. He tried calling to it, and received the red spider's response. He became the owner of a rank 11 spirit beast. He suddenly rose up to become one of the expert of Nan Yi country. His face glowed red. Xueqie immediately give Huang Beiyu a 90-degree bow. Thank you, Shi Tiandaren. No need to thank me. Congratulations to young Master Xue. Huang Beiyu said indifferently. Her natural character is cold. She doesn't like to be around numerous people or lively places. So she just nodded her head and walked out. She still acted just as arrogant as when she arrived. Shi Tiandaren. Luo run out after her, handed her a Zhonglan Mu card with the label of Bug on it. This is the money from the auction today. No commission was collected, a total of 300 million gold coins. Huang Beiyu clutched the Zhonglan Mu card, her heart felt a little bit clear. This is 300 million gold coins are. In just one day, she earned 300 million gold coins, letting her rise from poverty. All this is all because of the efforts of that young man, Luo. Without him advising her, help her auction, she feared that she would have been worried about money for a long time. Thinking, Huang Beiyu extended her hand out, pat Luo's shoulders. Many thanks. Luo's handsome face immediately turned as red as freshly boiled shrimps. In a low voice he said, no need to thank me, I am very happy to help you. Huang Beiyu didn't open her mouth to speak yet. The Crown Prince Zhong Yi's voice came from behind. Shi Tian sir, the palace feast tonight, we look forward to your presence. I will, thank you Crown Prince for inviting. To this unfeeling Crown Prince, Huang Beiyu doesn't have any evil intentions. This person's powerful, but isn't arrogant and egotistic. But Xueqie's flowery words, strength isn't good, and likes to be arrogant and egotistic. He is the type she hates the most. Shi Tian sir, when you attend the palace feast, you can't wear all black. Princess Ying Yi glanced at Huang Beiyu's black cloak. She really doesn't understand, why would a powerful 9-star summoner would wear a black cloak that doesn't show her class at all? Hearing Princess Ying Yi's words, Huang Beiyu blush a little in shame, Attending the palace feast is an official occasion. No matter how arrogant she is, she still have to show some respect to the master. At the very least, the clothes need to be decent. I'll let you have it. 6. She lightly nodded her head, turned and unfeelingly left. Luo Luo unhappily said, Shi Tian Daren wearing that is also very good looking. Why are you so fussy about it? I wasn't talking to you. Princess Yingyi glared at the young man. With her head high, she left, making Luo Luo turn red in anger, leaping up and jumping down. Luo Luo. An imposing voice sounded behind him. The patriarch of the Bujia family, Sai Sai, walked out, patting Luo Luo's shoulder. This time you did great. Luo Luo immediately beaming with joy, seizing this opportunity to talk about conditions. Then father, let me become a mercenary. Patriarch Sai Sai shook his head. Luo Luo's strength, he knows best. Youngsters are impulsive, full of risk-taking spirit, full of desire to take risk. But if actual danger actually does appear, they would lose their lives at any moment. The life of mercenaries is bloody and hard. He's young so he doesn't understand. When he grows up, then he would understand the painstaking efforts of a father. The things about the mercenary, we will take about it later. Father will now give you a mission. Hearing the first part, Luo Luo's smiling face immediately fell. But after he heard the second part, his eyes widen. What kind of mission? That Shi Tian Daren is very strong. Father wish that you would get close to her. If you can rope her in, it would be the best. Getting close to her, he appears to thought of something. Luo Luo's face turned somewhat an unnatural red color. What's the matter? Oh, nothing. Luo Luo shook his head quickly. Rest assured, I will make sure that I become friends with Shi Tian Daren. Become friends? Sai Sai laughed bitterly in his heart. Such a strong 9-star summoner, how could she easily become friends with you, a little kid, who isn't even a summoner? This son of his everything else is good, it's just his thinking is too naive. Huang Bei Yu walked out of Bujia market, thinking about where she should go to buy a few decent clothes. A carriage suddenly stopped by her side. Jumping from the carriage is a figure with a graceful body, a young girl with a beautiful face. It's Xiao Yun. Shi Tian Daren, where do you live? Let me send you back home. Xiao Yun very politely said. I live in Princess Zhong Prefecture. Do you dare send me? Huang Bei Yu glanced at her, using a very hoarse husky voice to say, no need. Shi Tian Daren, today Yun was able to win the bid for your ice feather. We feel very honored and wish to invite you to a simple meal. I don't know if Daren would want to give us face. Inside the carriage, concubine Snow also walked down, very passionately also invited her. I have things to do. She coldly threw those 3 words. In Chinese character it's 3 characters. Huang Bei Yu walked around them and left. Give you face. How much is your face's worth? Xiao Yun looked at her back, Huang Bei Yu's back. When she walked far away, they can still feel the aura of a strong expert around them, making it hard for people to breathe. Her face was both envious and jealous. Mother, when can I become a 9-star summoner? If she became a 9-star summoner, even if she's only a concubine's daughter, people would still look up to her. Don't worry, Mother will let your wish come true. Concubine Snow whispered. Today Prince Xiao Yarrow also came. Mother already prepared to send him a big gift, asking him to make you a Shi Sui, essence cleansing, pill. Essence cleansing pill? Xiao Yun was both surprised and happy. Mother, what you said is the truth. Essence cleansing pill is one of the more precious pill out of the other pills. The refining process is hard, even if it's a level 6 pill master, the success rate is about 30%. I'll let you have it. 7. Because this pill not only need countless precious herbs, it also have to be done when the stars shift, when the sun and the moon alternate, refining at the most prosperous moment in heaven and earth. It can be said, there is only one chance to refine this type of pill per year, even though it does no harm to refiners, but because the process is too tedious, and the chance for it to succeed is little to none, therefore over the years there have only been 2 or 3 successful examples. However, once it succeeds, there will be unexpected benefits. Essence cleansing pill is able to make up for the lack of natural talent. Originally, if someone with an average talent took the essence cleansing pill, then they may be able to enter the ranks of geniuses. With Xiao Yun's talent now, if she had the help of the essence cleansing pill, within 10 years, she would definitely be able to enter the realm of the 9-star summoners. At that time, she would be the first female 9-star summoner in Nan Yi country. But Prince Xiao Yarou doesn't easily help people to refine pills. Even if the emperor goes to plead, he won't necessarily agree to. Then what should I do? Xiao Yun became nervous. Concubine Shuai exposed a treacherous smile. If I wasn't confident, how would mother dare to let people send gifts? Xiao Yun smiled. Mother, you have an idea? Concubine Shuai saw that there was many people around, scared that someone would overhear their conversation, so she pulled Xiao Yun onto the carriage, lowering her voice to speak. When Princess Zhong was still alive, Xiao Yarou Wang was indebted to her. As long as Princess Zhong opens her mouth, however dangerous her request was, he will grant it to her. Xiao Yun widened her eyes. Mother, how do you know this much? Concubine Shuai coldly smiled. Humph, in the years when I was with Hui when that cheap tch, she doesn't hide a lot of things from me. But, Princess Zhong is already dead. She died, but there is still her daughter. Prince Xiao Yarou is someone who regards highly of his promises. As long as Huang Beiyu opens her mouth, he will accept. You want me to go find that waste again? Whenever I see her I am angry. She is obviously a waste, and occupying the status of the legal daughter, so hateful. When Xiao Yun thought of Huang Beiyu's status, the feeling of hate begins to appear. Concubine Shuai pats her shoulder, comfortingly say, Yun holding in the hate for the moment, you will be able to accomplish something great. Xiao Yun humphed. Concubine Shuai exclaims, when mother finds out the whereabouts of Prince Xiao Yao, find a time, then take that waste out, and go meet Xiao Yarou Wang. Be sure to leave him a good impression. Mother, Prince Xiao Yarou has money and potential. The status of a pill master is so great, better than that Shuai Che by a lot, right? Xiao Yun suddenly shy says. Concubine Shuai looked at her for a moment, then she smiled and pinched her face. Mother's precious sweetheart has grown up. Mother, you are teasing me. Xiao Yun blushes. Concubine Shuai smiled lovingly. How could mother be teasing you? You have this thought. Mother is too happy to even think that. If you are able to marry Prince Xiao Yarou, mother doesn't need to look at Xiao family's face anymore. Your father has soft ears, that cheap slut, Qin, just by saying a couple words and your father would listen. All these years mother has slowly become disappointed in your father, now I am depending on you. Mother, don't worry, I will make sure Prince Xiao Yarou likes me. Xiao Yun confidently exclaims. With Prince Xiao Yarou as a backup, even father will have to look at their face. Concubine Shuai happily said, however, don't give up on Shuai Che either. After all, the power of the House of Ngua Palace is also big. Mother, I know. With your daughter's charm, I will let Shuai Che be obsessed with me, and Prince Xiao Yarou will marry only me. I'll let you have it. 8. Xiao Yun was very confident with her looks. She is only 16, already one of the most beautiful girl in the city of Lin Huai, plus with the strength of being a 3-star summoner, don't know how many guys fell for her. That Prince Xiao Yarou looks elegant, not hard to get close to. That Prince Yi, however, is the real meaning of cold. For her to get close to him, she wouldn't dare to. Concubine Shuai and Xiao Yun didn't know that their conversation was all heard by Huang Beiyu. The ice feather of the ice spirit bird was with Xiao Yun. Through soul perception, the ice spirit bird is able to know everything that happened near the ice feather. This is also one of the powers of the super spiritual beast, separation of souls technique. Inside the ice feather its chi was moving around, would be able to mutually reflect one another. However, even though he was the main subject, he was only able to obtain only partial information. Through that ice feather, he wasn't able to feel any information. The woman's mind is most terrible. Only 2 days, Huang Beiyu already knew. Compared to women like concubine Qin who shows her displeasure on her face aren't scary. What's scary are women like concubine Shuai who is smiling on the outside but plotting something evil on the inside. Although she is arrogant and cool, but she never looks down on her enemy. She saw many examples of people betraying you when you need them the most. Women is the scariest living creature in the world. She is a scary woman herself. Therefore, for concubine Shuai who has a deep mind just like her, she needs to use a little method. With one ice feather, in exchange for 50 million gold coins, and is able to monitor this pair of mother and daughter anytime she likes, is pretty worth it. Foolish woman, want to use me, watch me play you to death. Coldly humping, Huang Beiyu walked into a clothing shop. Cloaks were her essential equipment. Without the cloak, how would she remain mysterious? Therefore she specifically picked 2 cloaks that were wide and big, a black cloak that can completely block the body, and also taking 2 beautiful black robes. There is still a gap in the clothes of this era compared to her aesthetic. Brainstorming, she called the boss over. The people of the city all knew of a very strong 9-star summoner, wearing a black cloak. The body was covered tightly. From the moment Huang Beiyu walked in, the boss and the worker started to be nervous. Even the customers in the store became silent, afraid to even breathe heavily, pairs of eyes all staring at her. Hearing Huang Beiyu's call, the boss immediately rushed over to her, carefully asking, "Darren, did you have any orders? Your store, can I order clothes according to the drawings?" Of course, obviously yes. Even if it isn't possible, if this Darren wants, then they need to find a way to make it. Good, I will draw 2 drawings, you guys will copy, have it done for me as quickly as possible. Huang Beiyu walked over to the counter side, taking a charcoal pencil, brushing 2 pictures on the white paper, handing it over to the boss, and putting a bag of gold coins on the way. The boss held the drawings with 2 hands, his eyes staring straight at it. It was the first time that he had seen such unusual apparels. How many days until this can be done? 2 days. 2 days will be enough. It is this Darren's command. Usually 1 day would be enough, however they have never seen the styles on the drawings, therefore they need another day to analyze it. Huang Beiyu nodded. 2 days is very quick, she didn't need them immediately. Much thanks. Thanking the boss, Huang Beiyu grabbed the clothes she brought and left. After that she went to Bujia market, bought a ring, even though it was just a low-graded one, surprisingly spent more than 10 million gold coins. The palace banquet, 1, advanced level ring, is even more expensive than anyone can imagine. She suddenly thought that even though she had 300 million gold coins, she is still a poor person. In total she bought many things, and put everything into the bag. Then she made her way back to the house of Princess Zhong Prefecture. Slowly sneaking into Liu Yun Pavilion, without anyone noticing, strolling from the backyard to the front yard, she saw Dongling who was walking around the courtyard anxiously. It just happens that she bought something for Dongling. Since it will be a while before the palace banquet begins, she decided to show her it. Dongling, I have something, miss. Dongling turned around to look at her, as though how she would be looking at a savior. You are finally back. What happened? Huang Beiyu's face fell. Her first thought was that someone had came to Liu Yun Pavilion to start trouble with Dongling. She already spoke privately to Pei Xiong, to let her restrain the servants of the house, to not come to Liu Yun Pavilion to start trouble. Was Pei Xiong not able to fulfill this small order? Someone wants to bully her, okay, but if someone wants to bully Dongling, that's not fine. Who came to bully you? I will go teach them a lesson. With her strength, to kill someone without anyone knowing it, that is easier than crushing an ant. Dongling stunned for a moment, then immediately shook her head. No one was bullying me. These 2 days no one even dared to come. The servants in the house weren't like before, not targeting against me anymore. Then what is the matter? It's good that no one came to start trouble. She often went out, not able to look after Dongling all the time. This little girl has a kind heart, and loyal to her. Not leaving her all these years, she was not willing to let Dongling to continue to suffer. Dongling pulled her to the room. While walking she was saying, just now the second lady of the house sent someone over, bring some things. Huang Beiyu was confused, that Xiao Yun would send her things? The sun must be rising from the west. On the bed in the room were 2 sets of clothes neatly placed, and some good textures of jewelries. She actually sent some things. Huang Beiyu picked up an outfit to look at. The texture of the clothes were pretty nice. It was made of satin and cloud gauze, the type of clothes that only rich families were able to afford. What idea is Xiao Yun trying to play at? Really came to please her, to prepare to meet Prince Xiao Yao? Dongling looked anxiously. The second lady wants you to make yourself presentable. In the evening you would have to go to palace to attend the banquet. What? Huang Beiyu widened her eyes. Didn't they say I am seriously ill and contagious? That's why they don't want me to leave the house. That's what I responded to them. But the second lady said no matter what, today you have to go to the palace banquet. Huang Beiyu was thinking that this time it would be a bit difficult to do. No matter how strong she is, she doesn't know how to separate her souls. She had to use the status of Huang Beiyu to go into the palace with concubine Shui and Xiao Yun, and also use the status of Shi Tiandaran took. Looking at it, she can't push one side away. If Xiao Yun said not to go, that delicate first lady will definitely disagree. Having such a kind heart to send her clothes, and even take her to the palace banquet, Huang Beiyu knew that they have other motives. Whether she goes or not, it's not up to her to make the decision. If she and Xiao Yun were to overturn one another, it will affect her plan, and if it turns into a big deal, she would have to show the identity of Shi Tiandaran. No, if her identity is revealed, she would have to kill concubine Shui and Xiao Yun quickly. It will be letting them off the hook too easily. How they had harmed Huang Beiyu before, and what happened with Princess Zhong, she wants them to pay her back 10 times as much. The palace banquet, too, slowly in her mind, she have a plan. Huang Beiyu took out everything she had bought today from her ring. Dongling's eyes widen as she saw the scene. Young miss, is that a space ring? Dongling rubbed her eyes several times, yet she still doesn't believe what she's seeing. The price of a space ring, she's very clear on that. Their economic situation, she is also very clear on that. It's only a low-level space ring, Dongling. Since it's like this, I can't hide it from you. Today I will go to the palace banquet, but you must also come. Dongling nodded her head. Dongling will follow young miss to serve you. I definitely won't make you lose face. If going to the palace to attend the palace banquet, there will definitely be many noble young miss and young gentlemen. Those young ladies who are pampered since young would have groups of servant girls. The young miss is Princess Zhong Prefecture's daughter of the first wife, Huang Beiyu. If she doesn't have even one servant serving her, then it would be too embarrassing. Since she was small, Princess Zhong have taught her to study etiquette and rules. She also learned a few self-defense witchcraft. With her present, she won't let others bully the young miss. Huang Beiyu picked up the black robe she had bought today, turned and laughed at Dongling. I don't need you to go and serve me. Ah! Then what do you want this servant to do? Dongling don't understand, she is just a servant. If she doesn't go to serve the young miss, then what else would she do? This I'll explain slowly. First try out this clothes to see if it fits. Dongling is older than her by 1 or 2 years, but these 2 years by following Huang Beiyu, she had suffered a lot of hardships, yet she would also bear it patiently. All the tasty food, she would give it all to Huang Beiyu. She herself would just nibble on some dry steam buns. She would have no nutrients at all for a long time, and it's at the age where she's growing, so she's didn't grow much. So she looks around the same age as Huang Beiyu. Since it's the young miss's order, Dongling wouldn't dare ask more. She took the clothes and put it on. Frowning, she said, "Young miss, this is men's clothing?" Huang Beiyu nodded her head. It is indeed men's clothing. Women's clothing would be colorful. She naturally doesn't like gaudy clothing. People in the dark world, towards beautiful colors, would avoid. She likes the color black, the same color as the night. It looks cold and hopeless. It suits you quite well. The size is just right. Dongling, inner in black men's clothing, looks a little big heroic. No wonder she learned a little bit of martial arts when she was small. Huang Beiyu then also took out the newly bought black cloak, put it on her, pulling the hat down to cover her face. Looking from closely, looking from far away, looks very similar. It's just that she's lacking some killing intent. Young miss, what is it that you want to do? Dongling is completely confused, making her wear such strange clothes. If other people see hers, they would have thought that she's crazy. I want you to wear this set of clothes to attend the palace banquet. How can that be? Dongling lifted the hat, somewhat panting with rage. Young miss, please stop messing around. The people in the palace won't let me in dressed like this. Today's young miss must be thinking about some random mess again. Princess Zhong had said, the outside world is a mess. She would prevent the young miss from going outside and make a fuss. As a result, she couldn't watch over the young miss, which let young miss to go out often to play. Now that she returned, she became like this. Huang Beiyu lifted her clear black pupil, deeply looked at Dongling. A smile full of confidence formed at the corner of her mouth. With this, you can definitely go in. from under the table, pulled out the bronze invitation that Crown Prince Nan Yi have sent to her yesterday. The dazzling invitation suddenly made their simple and crude room brighten up. The Palace Banquet. 3. Dongling's eyes widen. Since little, she grew up in Princess Zhong Prefecture, so she have some knowledge. This kind of color and this kind of specific invitation, it's only used in the palace are. This is the invitation to the palace banquet. Young miss, how could you have this? Is it sent by the Empress Dowager? Or is it sent by Princess Shihi? Dongling carefully took the invitation. Since the death of Princess Zhong, she haven't seen this kind of bronze invitation for many years. Touching it, there's a sacred feeling. Distracted, it seemed to her for a moment that Princess Zhong didn't die. They are still Lin Huai City's most glorious residents. The Empress Dowager and Princess Shihi are both not in imperial capital. How can they send an invitation to me? Huang Beiyu laughed. You're right. Dongling carefully opened the invitation. When she saw the name in the invitation was Sir Shi Tian, she thought her eyes were playing tricks on her. Sir Shi Tian. This name is somewhat familiar, but it's also unfamiliar. They don't know this person. When she saw that the name wasn't Princess Beiyu, Dongling's heart is suddenly somewhat heavy. The light of hope in her eyes disappeared. The subtle change in her expression, Huang Beiyu obviously saw it very clearly. Shaking her head and said, Dongling, I didn't steal this invitation nor did I pick it up. The person it's inviting is me. But this name. It's clearly not the young Mrs. I am Shi Tian, Dongling. This invitation was given to me. No one knows that Shi Tian is actually Princess Beiyu. Do you understand? Dongling nodded her head. This is the alias that the young miss use outside. Yes. Huang Beiyu nodded her head seriously. I will follow Xiao Yun to the palace. You will use the identity of Shi Tian to enter the palace. Remember that no matter what happens, you can't open the cloak, don't let other people see how you look like, and also don't talk to other people. Dongling listened, her heart skipped quickly, imposing as someone else to enter the palace. If the emperor knows this, perhaps one might lose their head. Young miss, the palace is really strict, it's impossible to not take the cloak off. Trust me, you only need to have this invitation, no one will dare to block you. Huang Beiyu pat her on the shoulder, trying to make her feel at ease. Dongling nervously clutched her hands tightly, her small body trembled. Huang Beiyu's black pupil sank, suddenly grabbed Dongling's hands, a sharp and intimidating essence flash across her pupil. Dongling shuddered, with a weeping face she said, Young miss, let's forget about it. I don't even know what kind of person Shi Tian is, how can I pretend to be him and enter the palace, if found out? With me here, what's there to fear? Huang Beiyu is helpless. In such a short time, there's no way to change her thought of them being weak. After so many years of subservience, barely surviving, suddenly telling her, your family's young miss could be the most strongest person in the imperial capital, she most likely will faint. But time is running out, after she faint, just make her awake again. Seeing Dongling's nervousness and hesitance, Huang Beiyu suddenly said in a low voice, Ice, come out. Ice. Who is Ice? Dongling looked around, clearly there is no one. Who is the young miss calling? However, the next second, her eyes became bigger than copper bells. Because inside their room, suddenly appeared a huge body, the whole body of the Iceland spirit bird give out an icy aura. It's a spirit beast. A spirit beast with an ice attribute. Palace Banquet. 4. The whole body covered in ice and snow. This is an advanced level spiritual beast. Rumor has it that even rank 11 ice property spiritual beast cannot hold the state of being in both ice and snow. How strong of a spiritual beast is this? Young miss, quickly leave. Dongling shouted in horror. Her first thought was to protect young miss. It must be that she offended N Guogong yesterday, that's why he sent masters to take young miss's life. Dongling opened her arm to protect Huang Beiyu who was behind, telling her to quickly run for her life. Huang Beiyu looked at the ice spirit bird, a feeling of speechless. Ice spirit bird at this level of spiritual beasts, is able to freely control its own mind, under normal state, is as huge as a palace, now shrink to fit in the room. At first glance, Huang Bei, you notice the ice spirit bird looks beautiful. In the past it is too huge, only looking at a portion of the body, always thinking it was a rough and huge beast, with such a huge brain, its big face. Now she doesn't have a specific impression on the ice spirit bird's face. Only knowing it was a very big and big face. But now that she look at it, the whole body crystal snow white, the sparkling blue color, each feather containing ice and snow, pure without any flaw, except that pair of dark green eyes, the whole body not containing variety of color. He looks like a phoenix in ancient Chinese mythology, the slender tail feathers, with an arrogant lazy gesture, containing 3 upturned ice feathers on the forehead, beautiful and amazing. At this moment the ice spirit bird proudly held his head up high, lazily glancing at Dongling, a type of dominating aura. Dongling, he is called Ice, my spiritual beast. Huang Bei, you stood up. In the frightened eyes of Dongling, she walked over to the ice spirit bird, patting his beautiful ice wing. Dongling swallowed her saliva, her butt sitting on the bed, with a widened mouth, not able to say anything. Master, I think I frightened her. The ice spirit bird was proud of bringing such shock to a mortal. No worries, she'll be fine in a bit. Huang Bei sighed, seeing that Dongling was still stunned, she went to change clothes. The clothes that Xiao Yun sent over had expensive textures, but the style is original, the color is very boring, whatever beauty there is will be overshadowed. However, Huang Bei has a clear skin tone, with refined features, even wearing a rag will also make her look beautiful and dignified. She wants to keep a low profile today, obviously, so she couldn't wear red or green. Ever since Princess Zhong had passed away, Huang Bei has never worn clothes with bright colors. This time going into the palace is different from at home, she couldn't just wear plain white clothes, so she just freely put on the clothes sent by Xiao Yun. Sitting in front of the mirror, looking at the girl in the bronze mirror, the little face clear from any makeup, the delicate spirit that hides between the eyebrows, the black long hair scattered on her cheeks, lined with bright black eyes, red-pink matte lips, with an underlying elegance. This face is still very young, only 12 years old, but between the picturesque face, you can still see the shadow of her past life. Pulling on her hair, Huang Bei felt helpless. Clothes she know how to wear, but hair she didn't know how to comb. These 2 days she just freely put on her hair and left the door. Since she was wearing a cloak anyway, no one would be able to tell. But in a while she has to go to the palace. No matter what, she still needs to dress up well. As she was distressed, a pair of cool little hands took the comb from her hand. The Palace Banquet, 5. When she's distressed over that, a small pair of ice-cold hand took the comb from her hand, slowly and noiselessly helped her comb her dark hair. After so many years, today, Dongling is the happiest. A slightly choked voice said behind her. Big droplets of tears fell down her face. Princess Zhong's hatred, it can finally have revenge. Huang Bei raised her eyebrows and said, hatred? Dongling's hands stiffen. She immediately went in front of Huang Bei and kneeled down. Tears filled her eyes, crying, young miss, Princess Zhong didn't die because of an illness, but it was someone else who intentionally caused her death. It's just as she thought. Huang Bei gripped her hands, the feelings belonging to the previous owner of the body furiously entered her. Memories of Princess Zhong showed her as gentle and beautiful. She always looked after her in every possible way and care. Even though she was a good-for-nothing with a weak and useless personality, nobody liked her, yet Princess Zhong still love and dote on her. Bei, as long as you have mother, no one will be able to bully you. A gentle and loving voice, the words still ringing in her ears. But who would have thought that life would be so unfair, always teasing people's fate? The young Princess Zhong didn't wait till that weak daughter grow up, without a choice, closed her eyes forever. The her at that time must have been full of regret and worry. And how afraid and hesitant that young Huang Bei must have been. Innumerable fierce feelings, like tide, flood into her heart. Her fist tightly clenched, she asked one word at a time. Dongling, what do you know? Dongling, crying, hugged her leg. That year Princess Zhong drank the medicine that concubine Shui sent and was poisoned to death. But your father didn't investigate. It was also during time of war, so the Emperor and the Empress also have no time to intervene. Your father just quickly prepared a funeral. The young miss was young, so this servant didn't dare say anything, just hoping that I will be able to tell young miss when you're older. Dong Ling deserved to die. No. Huang Beiyu shook her head. You did good. If at that time Dong Ling had told Huang Beiyu, with Huang Beiyu being so naive and weak at that time, she would have been angered to death, inadvertently alerting an enemy, which would have made concubine Shui eliminate the problem at the root. Dong Ling at that time is also young, however she already know the personality of Huang Beiyu. She, Dong Ling, have kept such a big secret in her heart for so long, always waiting for her, Huang Beiyu, to grow up and become strong, or when she's married. Her, Dong Ling, mind is delicate, yet her character is calm. This girl, if she is educated, she will have a promising future. Dong Ling, what you have just said, I have already guessed. My mother's death, I will investigate it clearly. Also, I want them to pay the price. Do you understand? Dong Ling cried while nodding her head. Dong Ling understands, it's too simple to just kill them. Murdering Princess Zhong is a big crime. We have to make their crime known to the world, letting everyone in the world to punish them. Huang Beiyu nodded her head with joy. Dong Ling, this little girl would understand her heart. Just killing concubine Shui and her daughter, Princess Zhong died mysteriously. Huang Beiyu suffered so many difficult years. Who will give her justice? It's good that you understand. Then tonight what you must do you know? Dong Ling nodded her head firmly. Knowing that the young miss already have a plan, she's happier than anyone. Don't just say disguising as someone else to go to the palace banquet. Even if young miss tell her to go to the Mountain of Daggers, she would also go. The young miss is so smart, thorough, and careful. In the future she is definitely not someone without talent. The palace banquet. 6. Dong Ling's clever hands helped her comb her hair into a dignified cross-shaped bun, putting on a violet-colored glass pearl flower, simple and low-key. In a pile of noble ladies, she definitely will not catch people's eyes. Isn't this what concubine Shui want? The clothes and jewelries are expensive, but not colorful. This is to make sure that people don't know that Princess Beiyu isn't being harshly abused, and also to make people take notice of Xiao Yun's beautiful elegance. What wishful thinking are. So what if I allow your wishful thinking to come true? Letting you smile, fly up to the sky, and then kick you down from the gates of heaven, letting you not die from the fall. Huang Beiyu smiled as she twirled in a circle. This is the first time seeing her in period clothing. It feels quite fresh to her. The sky is almost dark. Concubine Shui already sent a servant to rush her. Huang Beiyu randomly took a green cloak to put on, saying to Dong Ling, no matter who talks to you, always be indifferent. There is no need to say too much. Even if it's the emperor, you also have to be indifferent. Dong Ling nodded her head. These words, she kept it firmly in her heart. Her hand is still sweating, but she is no longer afraid. Huang Beiyu smiled and said, nothing will happen. I will also be in the palace banquet. I will always be watching you. If anything happens, I will help you. After she finished talking, she walked out, following the impatient servant to the front courtyard. Today's palace banquet, people up and down of Princess Zhong's prefecture is invited. Concubine Qin and concubine Shui have concubine statuses. Their statuses are low, so according to the rules of the palaces, if they don't have invitation, they're not eligible to enter the palace. So only Xiao Yuancheng will bring his sons and daughters to the palace. There is no need to say Xiao Zhongqi and Xiao Yun will definitely go. Besides them there is also concubine Qin's daughter, the fourth miss, Xiao Ru. Concubine Shui's son, second young master, Xiao Zhonglei, and also concubine Fang's daughter, the eldest daughter, Xiao Ling will be going. When Xiao Yuancheng was young, he was handsome, tall, and mighty. These concubines are nothing, so their children is just average. The men is handsome, the women is beautiful. The horse carriage stopped at the front of the courtyard. The young masters and young miss have already arrived. Huang Beiyu arrived late. The moment Xiao Yuancheng saw her, his heart is full of anger. His face turns green and looked at her with disgust. Then he proceeded to get on the horse. With Xiao Zhongqi's company, he left the prefecture first. Huang Beiyu looked at the horse that just left, her pale and sickly, with no extra expressions. This made Xiao Ling very disappointed because she wanted to see a good show, drama. Huang Beiyu's identity is the daughter of the main wife. Here, Who doesn't hate her? You are sick. Why aren't you in your room taking care of your illness? Instead you're here to go to the palace banquet. Xiao Ling said straightforwardly at Huang Beiyu with a glare. Eldest daughter, third young miss is the daughter of the main wife. What kind of tone is that? Concubine said suddenly. She very affectionately walked in front of Huang Beiyu, deeply concerned about her well-being. Xiao Ling, being scolded, her face burst with red and then green. This sickly Huang Beiyu dare cause her to be scolded, but towards the scheming concubine Shui, she didn't dare do anything. With a snort, she can only whisper, "It's precisely so that's what the doctor said. If she enter the palace and it's spread to the prince and princess, what to do then? Because she needs to take advantage of Huang Beiyu to make her mother's position as the main wife, she also need to take advantage of Huang Beiyu to make Prince Xiao Yarrow to refine a bone marrow pill cleansing pill, so Xiao Yun's attitude towards Huang Beiyu is slightly better. The Palace Banquet, 7, Big Sister, third young sister's illness is already better, she's just a little weak. This kind of words, you better not go outside and say it. What infectious disease? We live in one yard, if it's an infectious disease, then wouldn't we also be infected? You are deliberately trying to hurt our reputation. The words that Xiao Yun spoke are very sharp and vicious. Xiao Ling would have never thought that Xiao Yun, who is always high and mighty, would have helped Huang Beiyu. The sun has risen from the west. This Xiao Yun is father's favorite, even father must praise her. Xiao Ling cannot afford to offend her. Second little sister is joking, I'm just causally saying it, how could I dare to go out and say such things? She hates Xiao Yun to death in her heart. This Xiao Yun is just like Huang Beiyu, they're both born lucky. Huang Beiyu is the daughter of Princess Zhong, naturally the daughter of the main wife. And this little life is even more hateful. She actually have the blood lineage of a summoner, hateful. Clearly they're all flesh and blood of Xiao family, yet she's a daughter of a concubine. But she doesn't even have a small amount of marital art gift, let alone the talent of a summoner. Saying it causally, I see that you're just sprouting nonsense all day. Going to the banquet you would just cause trouble, why don't you just stay at home? Xiao Yun's words at home is very important, because their father is her backer. So when Xiao Ling heard what she had just said, her face turned pale. Second young miss, don't be angry. It's almost time for the palace banquet, quickly get on the carriage. Don't delay the time. Concubine Qin, who was at the side, quickly said, then she gave Xiao Ling a glare. Stupid girl. Don't you see that Xiao Yun and her mother is pulling Huang Beiyu? Boldly trying to get into trouble. If not for her who gave birth to the fourth miss who is still young, then she wouldn't have brought Xiao Ling, who only know how to recite Buddhist scripture from concubine Fang. She needs Xiao Ling to get acquainted with a powerful young master in the palace banquet in order to help her. She can't wait any longer. Xiao Yun already is about to be engaged with An Guogong's son. If this matter happens, concubine Shui will have a backing, she might even become the main wife. Humph. If Xiao Ling is able to be acquainted with the son of a big and powerful family, she will then adopt Xiao Ling as her own. By taking her as her own daughter, then she can also have a backing. With concubine Qin interfering, Xiao Yun then can't say anything. She and Huang Beiyu went on the same carriage. In the gorgeous carriage, she quickly took a peek at Huang Beiyu. The person she hate the most in her life is Huang Beiyu. But now she have to be nice to her. Today's palace banquet, Prince Xiao Yarrow will also be present. As a last resort, she must take this sick waste to go together. But a waste is a waste. Giving her silk, gauze, satin, gold and silver jewelry, she, Huang Beiyu, is still not comparable to her, Xiao Yun. This waste can be only used as a prop for her. After she finish taking advantage of her, she'll immediately kick her away. Huang Beiyu comfortably laid on the soft cushion of the carriage. Because of her pale face, it seems especially sickly, as if she's about to fall asleep. Since there's nothing to say to Xiao Yun and going to the palace will take a long time, she'll just close her eyes and sleep for a bit. After it's dark, Dong Ling will disguise as Shi Tian and go to the palace banquet. Dong Ling's skill is too weak, she will have to make some countermeasures. Ice. She silently called for the Ice Luan spirit bird in her heart, Go protect Dongling. If there's danger, you must immediately come out, you must not let her get hurt. Master, what will you do then? Most spirit beasts will not leave their master to protect another person. The Palace Banquet, 8. However, the Ice-Swan Spirit Bird and Huang Beiyu didn't make a life contract. He just obeys Huang Beiyu, so she can control him freely. I don't need protection for now. With the identity of Huang Beiyu, there won't be any danger. What's more, her skills isn't bad. This era's martial art masters, she doesn't necessarily put them in her eyes. Although thinking about it for a day or two, the Ice-Swan Spirit Bird have some understanding of Huang Beiyu's character. She said she doesn't need protection, then she must have absolute confidence. Therefore, the Ice-Swan Spirit Bird sneakily returned to Princess Zhong's prefecture in the darkness. The carriage ride is a bumpy, her half-closed eyes suddenly her eyes swept across Xiao Yun's waist which display a fluorescent ice feather. A summoner's weapons are always placed inside their space ring. They usually would not bring it with them everywhere. When they have to fight, a weapon is also a tool for winning. Others aren't familiar with your weapon, so during the beginning they aren't able to analyze your tactics. Those who aren't able to afford a space ring are the only ones who would hang their weapons on their body. Xiao Yun obviously is able to afford it. She actually have a high-level space ring. The space inside her ring is about the size of a city. With such a high-level space ring, not putting ice feather inside it, it's obvious that she wants to flaunt it. In the whole Cart continent, probably only she have a feather of the 5 spirit beast as a weapon. This is simply the highest form of flaunting. Xiao Yun paid great attention to her ice feather. Therefore, Huang Beiyu's eyes had swept across her, thus Xiao Yun became proud. She took the ice feather from her waist, fiddling it in her hand, she glanced at Huang Beiyu, laughingly said, "Beiyu, what do you think of my ice feather?" "Very pretty." Huang Beiyu have a little bit of admiration. That's the feather that she personally pluck, of course it's pretty. It's not only pretty, do you know what kind of spirit beast this feather came from? Huang Beiyu shook her head, pretending not to know. Xiao Yun proudly said, "You know the 5 spirit beast, like the Crown Prince's purple flame unicorn. This ice feature is on the same status as the purple flame unicorn, from an ice spirit beast of the 5 spirit beast, Ice-Swan Spirit Bird's feather." Xiao Yun used many powerful words to describe it, making Huang Beiyu have a headache. How amazing. Even if she have the whole Ice-Swan Spirit Bird, she still have to flatter Xiao Yun who only have 1 feather. Don't even mention how proud Xiao Yun is, Huang Beiyu, even though you have a distinguished identity, you unfortunately don't have any ability. In the Cart continent, without any ability and having only an identity, it still doesn't mean anything. No ability. This is the first time Huang Beiyu heard someone say this to her. If she doesn't have any ability, then in this world there is no one else with strength ability. Do you know Shi Tiandaren who have recently appeared? When Xiao Yun saw that Huang Beiyu isn't talking, she thought that Huang Beiyu is feeling inferior. Making Huang Beiyu feel inferior, it's what Xiao Yun like to do the most. She is actually a 9-star summoner. This ice feather is plucked by her. Grandpa already sent people to coax this Shi Tiandaren. If anything unexpected doesn't happen, then in the future, this Shi Tiandaren will be my teacher. Huang Beiyu's half-closed eyes suddenly opened, tilted her head, very astonished. "Teacher?" When Xiao Yun saw the astonished expression, even more proudly said, "Of course, I am the female genius of Nan Yi country. Shi Tiandaren definitely recognize my worth." Genius. A 3-star summoner at the age of 16 is considered a genius. The Palace Banquet, 9. She thought about it, according to the rules of this era, at what age this she become a 3-star summoner? 5 years old. A 3-star summoner at the age of 16 and you want her, Huang Beiyu, to recognize her, Xiao Yun's, talent? Keep dreaming. If second big sister is able to become the disciple of Shi Tiandaren, then your future will be limitless. She said if that is only natural. She glanced at Huang Beiyu with contempt. Xiao Yun said, "Third little sister, if second sister have benefits, second sister definitely won't forget about you." You also can't forget about second big sister En. Huang Beiyu nodded her head. Of course she would not forget. The carriage entered the palace after a few rounds of inspections. Finally, they got off the carriage, walking along with the palace maids to go to the banquet at Xia Guang Hall. Along the way there was already many noble ladies from the continent. Cabinet ministers and young masters from different families already went to the emperor to pay their respect. The females head to Xia Guang Hall to pay respect to the empress. Xiao Yun met a few familiar young ladies and went over to walk. Huang Beiyu followed behind the palace maids and looked around. Everyone is attracting attention. They wear beads and pearls, a dazzling lineup. Every young lady and noble ladies all look very touching, splendid clothes and attires, every one of them wearing red and green, striving to be seen. As Huang Beiyu looked at them, her eyes become dazzled. Quickly she looked away to look at the sky overhead. Walking to Xia Guang Hall, she saw the empress and many imperial concubines wearing generous ceremonial clothing coming out. The young ladies and the noble ladies quickly bowed to pay their respect. Huang Beiyu only bow to the heaven, earth, and her parents. Other than the three, she won't bow down to anyone else. So she only faintly swept a glance and walked behind the door to stand. Inside, the empress told them to get up and joked with a few noble ladies. Only then, Huang Beiyu went in. Xia Guang Hall is already prepared for the feast. The palace maids lead the ladies to their appropriate seats according to their statuses. Princess Zhong Prefecture's status is similar to royal family, so their seats are obviously closer to the empress and emperor. Xiao Yun confidently sat at the main wife's daughter's seat. She doesn't feel improper. When she went to the palace, she always sat at that seat. The many people around them also didn't say anything. Huang Beiyu raised one of her eyebrows, but didn't do anything, her face expressionless as she sat down. Just as she sat down, she realized that Princess Yingyi's seat is right next to her, and Princess Yingyi turned her head to look at Xiao Yun. Princess Yingyi frowned, but she didn't say anything. However, when she cast a glance around, she saw Huang Beiyu and squint her eyes a little bit. After that, Princess Yingyi got up from her seat. With large strides she walked towards them. The action of a princess, obviously everyone would pay attention to. Before Xiao Yun could respond, Princess Yingyi's pampered voice suddenly spoke up. "Do you deserve to sit at this seat?" Xiao Yun was surprised. Even Huang Beiyu was stumped for words for a moment. "The daughter of a concubine, you actually dare climb onto the head of Princess Beiyu? Who do you think you are?" Princess Yingyi's voice is very loud, everyone in Xia Guang Hall could hear it. Being so humiliated in public, Xiao Yun's face was pale white, with a big smile, yielding her seat. I accidentally sat on the wrong seat." That's what she said, but she's fuming with rage inside her heart. This wretched Huang Beiyu. If I've known earlier, I wouldn't have brought you here, making me become so humiliated. This commotion, the empress was also shocked. The radiant and noble empress said, "Yingyi, don't make trouble." "Mother Empress, I didn't make trouble. The people from Princess Zhong Prefecture doesn't know the rules, I'm teaching her," Princess Yingyi said loud and clearly. The Palace Banquet, 10. Hearing Princess Zhong these three words, the Empress's beautiful almond-shaped eyes swept across Huang Beiyu. Seeing her, with a complicated expression on her face, she faintly nodded her head. Today is just a general banquet, there's not a lot of rules. When the Queen's eyes swept across her, Huang Beiyu also raised her head to welcome her gaze. In her memory, this Empress doesn't like Huang Beiyu. After the death of Princess Zhong, she have never saw the Empress. It seems like the Empress still doesn't like her. Her gaze was just a faint swept across, her cold gaze doesn't betray any emotions. There's no fear, respect, or hostility. Towards the Huang Beiyu now, this is just the first time she have met the Empress. She doesn't like Huang Beiyu, but she, Empress, have never hurt her. With her ordinary gaze, the Empress is slightly astonished. She thought that she must have seen wrong before. How can that weak Huang Beiyu use such a gaze to look at her? She can't help but glance at Huang Beiyu again. She found that the Huang Beiyu is still the same as the past. She looks sickly, as if a wind would be able to knock her down. She must have seen wrong. After such a big commotion by Princess Yi, everyone's eyes in Xiaoguang Hall turned their attention to Huang Beiyu. Some people point at her in a low voice. It turned out that she's Princess Beiyu. After so many years, this is the first time I've seen her. Just by looking at her, it doesn't seem like she's useless. But looking closely at her, she looks similar to Princess Hui Wenzhong. She's a beauty in a budding beauty. What's the point of being beautiful? To become so sick like that, I'm afraid that the big Princess Zhong prefecture will have someone else taking over it in the future. Such a pitiful thing. At this era, those who can't do martial arts can be only ridiculed by others. Princess Beiyu from the Princess Zhong prefecture is a waste. Everyone in Linhuai City knows that. That year, how glorious Princess Zhong was. This daughter, she really make her lose face. Being talked about like that, Huang Beiyu felt somewhat unsatisfied. She who is the 21st century's genius killer, yet here people think she's waste. Before she can turn around to give them a glare, news arrived that the emperor is here. Everyone in Xia Guang immediately stood up. One by one they kneeled down to greet the emperor. The emperor laughed as he walked in. As he walked, he raised his hand and said, "Today you don't have to greet me, everyone rise." The females thank the emperor. Huang Beiyu took this opportunity to look at the emperor. The memories and actually seeing the emperor with her own eyes is different. It's been a few short years that she haven't seen him. This Nan Yi country's emperor is as not young and high-spirited as he was in her memories. Hardship have left a mark at the outer corner of his eyes. His face is still handsome, body is still big and tall. When he walk he is able to bring a gust of wind, brimming with prestige. Behind him, the handsome and cold crown prince Nan Yi and a few ministers and duke followed. Huang Beiyu's eyes are very sharp. With just one glance she can see Prince Xiao Yao, Song Mi, who is next to the crown prince. He wore an elegant black clothing. A faint smile could be seen at the corner of his mouth. With the arrival of the crown prince and Prince Xiao Yao, making the noble ladies in Xia Guang Hall very moved, of course Xiao Yun is also one of them. The emperor went up to his dragon's seat and sat down. He waved his sleeve and said, "Did all the guests arrive?" The eunuch next to him whispered, replying to your majesty, there is still Shi Tian Daran and Bei Yaro country's 9th prince who didn't arrive. Provocation from the strong. 1. Oh? The emperor slightly narrowed his eyes. His expression is mysterious, worthy of being royalty. He showed no happiness or anger. Prince Xiao Yao went forward and said, reporting to the emperor. Recently, the 9th prince is seriously ill. So he can't come on time. I hope your majesty won't blame him. Feng Nan Yi and Prince Xiao Yao are good friends. It is well known in Nan Yi country. With the status of Prince Xiao Yao, since he has already opened his mouth to please, the emperor have to give him face. He laughed. It's no bother. It's still early. I and everyone here will wait for the guests to arrive. Everyone shouted long live the emperor, and then the emperor bestows seats to the guest. Xiao Yuan Cheng with Xiao Zhongqi and Xiao Zhonglei took seats. When he saw the seat that Huang Beiyu is seating on, he coldly humphed and also saw Xiao Yun's face full of grievances, his heart full of fury. He said, Yun what's the matter? Xiao Yun, who was full of grievances, said in a low voice, Yuna knows that she's only a daughter of a concubine. Before I accidentally sat at sister's seat, who would have thought I would be scolded by the princess? Father, Yuna really did it by accident. Xiao Yuan Cheng already have a belly of anger towards Huang Beiyu. Now that he heard this, he is even more angry. He glared at her harshly. Huang Beiyu play with the wine cup in her hand. She coldly shoot a glance at him, said, Emperor's son-in-law, right now it's the palace. It's a place with rules. You and I have different statuses. If the imperial censors sees you being disrespectful to me, be careful, they might look for you for trouble tomorrow. Xiao Yuan Cheng's body immediately fired up. He couldn't believe that this waste would say these kinds of words to him. He is her father. She actually dare bring out statuses and positions? Absurd. Huang Beiyu coldly turn her pupil to him. The corner of her lips display a mocking smile. Xiao Yuan Cheng is so angry that he's about to spit out blood. But in the palace, the emperor and the empress is here. How could he dare to be impudent? Xiao Yun, who was at the side, saw that her father also suffered a big loss. Her heart can't help but jump, an indescribable feeling of unease emerge. When Huang Beiyu saw that Xiao Yuancheng dared to become angry yet not say anything, she lowered her head and sneered, continuing to play with the wine cup. They deliberately speak in a low voice, so the people around them didn't find that anything was amiss. Crown Prince Zhon Yi walked up next to Princess Ying Yi and sat down. Princess Ying Yi immediately said, "Royal brother, this is Royal Auntie's Beiyu, do you still remember?" Huang Beiyu lifted her hand and saw Princess Ying Yi pointing her finger at her, talking to Zhon Yi. Zhon Yi coldly turned his head and glanced at her. There doesn't seem to be any change in expression. Since little, Huang Beiyu is a weak waist, which is different from his firm, unyielding temper. So he pays little attention to this Princess Beiyu. Separated for several years, when he saw her again, she still looked pale and sickly, only a pair of distinct black and white eyes which appears to be very clear. Out of courtesy and due to the respect to the deceased Princess Zhong Yi said, "I heard that your health isn't good, has it become better?" The youngster's concern is cold, but the emotions aren't fake, it is merely that he always have this indifferent personality. Huang Beiyu's heart feel a little bit warm, nodded her head, "It has gotten better, many thanks for the Crown Prince's concern." The voice is soft, but it sounded somewhat familiar. Zhon Yi can't help but give her another glance. With this glance, he suddenly discovered that the young lady in front of his eyes looks beautiful, with flesh of ice and bones of jade, wonderful red lips, her figure is petite and exquisite, temperament cold and clear, cold to the point that she is different from the Huang Beiyu in the past. Provocation from the strong, too. In the past, when Princess Zhong brought her to the palace, whenever that small girl saw him, she would always bear a somewhat fearful and somewhat shy expression. If there is anger behind his words, it would frighten her enough for her to weep. However, the present Huang Beiyu actually dare lift her clear eyes and look at him face to face. There isn't the slightest bit of weakness of shyness from the past. Everyone says that a girl changes 18 times between childhood and womanhood. It seems that after the death of Princess Zhong, she has slowly grew up and changed. Zhon Yi doesn't know why, but his heart is somewhat happy. "Beiyu, when your health is better, in the future come to the palace more often to walk around. These several years you haven't come to the palace, the Empress Dowager miss you very much." Princess Ying Yi said sincerely. Huang Beiyu's impression of Princess Ying Yi now is better than it was before. Although Ying Yi is unruly and headstrong, she is straightforward, upholds justice and dares to do anything. People with honest temperaments, Huang Beiyu appreciates them. When she's about to nod, a eunuch ran in to report, "Your Majesty, Prince Yi has arrived, Shi Tiandaran has also arrived." Xie Guang Hall suddenly fell silent. The emperor is overjoyed and stood up. With long strides he walked down and personally went out to greet him. It seems like all the countries value experts and talents. It is definitely true. Huang Beiyu noticed that in front of her, several people who are wearing magnificent garments. A group of elderly princes and aristocrats are seated together immediately catches people's eyes, each and every one of them sitting upright and still. Huang Beiyu is able to clearly distinguish the aura of experts. Although those people didn't emit aura of death, their manners belong to that of an expert. They couldn't hide it. It seems that they're all Nan Yi country's experts. With that kind of imposing manners, their strength is probably above 8 stars. Listening to Xiao Yuancheng whisper to Xiao Yun, "Yun, your grandfather is over there. Later go over there and pay your respect to him." "I understand, father." Xiao Yun agreed immediately. Xiao Yuancheng happily said, "Since your grandfather have came to the palace banquet, it seems like he broke through to the rank of an 8-star summoner. Grandfather's summon beast is Raging Inferno Leopard, that is a rank 12 spirit beast. With grandfather's current strength, if he fought against a 9-star summoner, it would be hard to know who would win or lose." Xiao Yuancheng nodded his head. That proud and arrogant look on his face made it seem as if he himself have become a 9-star summoner. Huang Beiyu's impression of the Xiao family's old man is not deep. That old man didn't like Xiao Yuancheng marrying Princess Zhong, becoming the emperor's son-in-law and becoming a member of their family, making the Xiao family lose their face. So the relatives doesn't really like Huang Beiyu. Xiao family's old man lives in the Xiao family's main residence. For many years, Huang Bei you didn't go there many times. Every time she went, she feared that old man's imposing aura, so she didn't dare look at him. So in reality, she doesn't know how Xiao family's old man is like. When her gaze circled once around the group of experts, she realized that an old man with long white hair and beard looked towards them. When he saw Xiao Yun, the expression on the face looked somewhat relieved. Xiao Yun's face immediately showed a smile. It seems that the white-hair old man is Xiao family's old man, Xiao Qi Yuan. Xiao Qi Yuan with the other experts turned their attention to the entrance of Xia Guang Hall, waiting for the legend, Shi Tian who have the Ice Luan spirit bird of the five-spirit beast. The emperor walked to the entrance, a few princes and ministers naturally followed. Several eunuchs carrying lanterns helped guide the path. Slowly, a petite figure whose whole body is shrouded in a black cloak entered their line of sight. Elegant and mysterious, proud and cold. Sure enough, it's just as the rumors says. Sir Shi Tian, Imperial waited a long time. You're tuning in to the Dreamy Chapters YouTube channel. We're so grateful for your support and don't forget to subscribe to join us on this incredible journey through captivating stories. Your generosity through donations truly makes a world of difference, as it's the primary source of revenue that allows me to expand and enhance this channel for you. Thank you from the bottom of my heart for being a part of this adventure.